What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 15 TR Chapter 274, Compensation for the Defeat of the Kingdom of Wind. In just a few minutes, the war was over. The disparity in strength between the two sides is too great, just like 5,000 hunting dogs encountering 3,000 lions. Even though they have the advantage in numbers, the gap in individual strength is too large and they will collapse at the first touch. Of the 5,000 warriors of the Kingdom of Wind, more than 4,000 died and 300 were captured. The rest realized something was wrong at first and fled early. On the other hand, here in the bird-watching country, there were 0 deaths, no serious injuries, and only minor injuries. The double speed allows them to easily avoid vital parts of the body when facing attacks. Mizuki, who was watching the battle not far away, nodded. Good. The next day, Mizuki came to the Daiming Mansion and saw the daimyo Toki. Mizuki-sama, I can win this battle, thanks to your secret medicine. Mizuki-sama's grace to the Bird Kingdom will never be forgotten by everyone in the Bird Kingdom. Mizuki smiled and said, the support of the daimyo is indispensable. However, the victory in this battle is just the beginning. Next, please ask the daimyo for compensation from the daimyo of the Kingdom of Wind. The daimyo nodded and said, the Kingdom of Wind took the initiative to attack. We won the war. It is natural to ask for compensation. I don't know how much compensation we should ask for. Mizuki said, there are 30,000 warriors in the Bird Country. They lost 27,000 in this battle and only 3,000 are left. Each warrior's pension is 100,000 taels. There are 27,000 people. A total of 2.7 billion taels are needed. Erase a fraction of that, even 3 billion taels. Daimyo. Is this called erasing? This is clearly a reverse erasure. Mizuki continued. The entire people of the Bird Country have been severely frightened by the hasty attack of the Wind Country. Everyone needs mental damage compensation. 10,000 taels per person is enough. Oh, by the way, Lord Daimyo, how many people are there in Bird Country? Ibis said. According to statistics at the beginning of the year, the total number of people in Bird Country is close to 300,000. Mizuki nodded and said, 300,000 at the beginning of the year, but there are a lot of immigrants this year, and there are many newborn children, so it would be better to give it 500,000. 10,000 taels per person, 500,000 people, that's 5 billion taels. Ibis swallowed. The pension is 3 billion taels, and the mental damage fee is 5 billion taels, for a total of 8 billion taels. The annual tax revenue of Bird Country is less than 100 million taels. But it's not over yet. Mizuki continued. The secret medicine I provided is worth 1 million taels each, a total of 3,000 pills, worth 3 billion taels. The war destroyed the environment of the Bird Country, with losses as high as 1 billion taels. The birds in the Bird Country were scared away, resulting in a loss of 2 billion taels. Your Excellency the daimyo was frightened and suffered a mental loss of 1 billion taels. Agriculture has been affected, with a loss of 3 billion taels. Well, that's all for now. A total of 20 billion taels must be compensated by the Kingdom of Wind. Toki's eyes had already widened. She stared at Mizuki, feeling that the man in front of her was really shameless. This is the first time I have seen a request for war reparations, and it was divided in such detail. Advertisement, even if it's not detailed, there are all kinds of groundless things, such as the birds being scared away, the environment being damaged, and the mental damage charges, which I have never heard of before.
Lord Daimyo, the Kingdom of Wind is already barren. If it costs 20 billion, I'm afraid they won't be able to come up with it. Hong Ming said on the side. Although he also wanted the Kingdom of Wind to really pay 20 billion in compensation, he knew that the Kingdom of Wind could not afford such a large amount of money. Mizuki said, it doesn't matter if you can't get it out. You can use supplies to offset it. If you don't have supplies, you can use land to offset it. Hong Ming said, this will put the Kingdom of Wind in a hurry. What if? Mizuki waved his hand and said, it's better to push him harder. Let's continue fighting anyway. We don't have to be afraid of whether it's a ninja or a samurai. The Kingdom of Wind sends out ninjas, and I will deal with it myself. We are not afraid if warriors are sent out. 3,000 warriors are enough to bulldoze the entire Kingdom of Wind. Toki's eyes lit up and he asked, Mizuki-sama, are you saying that you still have that secret medicine? Mizuki nodded. Yes, there are many more, as many as you want. After leaving Daiming Mansion and returning to Phoenix Village, Mizuki found Watermelon and asked, do you still have stalactites? Watermelon immediately said, no more, not a drop is gone. It looked at Mizuki warily. Mizuki smiled and said, look at your look, why can't I get what you have for nothing? Don't worry, I'll trade with you. Zigwa said. Swap with me. What can you bring out to trade with me? Mizuki took out a capsule and said, here, I'll trade this with you. Zigwa frowned and took the capsule from Mizuki's hand. Looking through the transparent capsule shell, he could see a drop of milky white liquid inside. Watermelon glanced at Mizuki suspiciously again, brought the capsule to his nose and smelled it. This smell, it smells out. Is this the stalactite I gave you? Mizuki said. Yes, it's stalactite, but you didn't give it to me. Zigwa was speechless and cursed. Are you sick? Take the stalactite I gave you and exchange it for stalactite from me. Mizuki didn't explain. He took out a handful of capsules and asked, I'll give you 10 capsules in exchange for one. How about that? Zigwa's eyes widened. Are these stalactites? Where did you get so many of them? Suddenly, it thought of something and asked in horror. You didn't sneak into King Meow's treasure house to steal it, did you? Mizuki. It's not stolen. It comes from the right place and is absolutely clean. Just tell me whether you want to change it or not. Of course Zigwa didn't believe it. It doesn't matter if the origin is legitimate or not, but if you exchange 1 drop for 10 drops, you think I'm stupid. There must be something wrong with this thing of yours. It either has serious side effects or is simply poisonous. You dare not use it yourself. If you want to exchange it with me, there is no way. It did not get carried away by the benefits of 1 for 10. No one would change it if they encountered something like this. Imagine if someone offered you 100 yuan in exchange for 10 yuan, would you exchange it? The first reaction must be that the other person's 100 yuan banknote is a counterfeit note. Mizuki pretended to be mysterious and said, Actually, I know a ninjutsu called copying, which can make many copies of an object. These stalactites were copied by me based on the stalactites you gave me. Advertisement. 1 drop of the original stalactite can be copied to get 20 new drops of stalactite.
Unfortunately, my ninjutsu has a limitation, that is, the copied things cannot be used as raw materials for duplication again. But I can guarantee that the effect of the copied product is exactly the same as the original version. It is absolutely non-toxic and has no side effects. If you don't believe it, you can take it for testing. Zigwa was dubious, but in the end he did not resist the temptation of benefits. Okay, give me what you have on hand, I'll take it back and check it out. If it's as non-toxic and has no side effects as you say, I'll switch with you. Mizuki said. I have 29 pills in my hand, plus what you have in your hand, it's exactly 30 pills, which can be exchanged for the 3 pills you gave me before. He gave all the capsules in his hand to Zigwa, and Zigwa took it back to Meowstar. Standing in front of the window, Mizuki looked downstairs and happened to see a man on the street talking to Namikaze Minato who was buying groceries. He even knelt down while talking. Minato noticed Mizuki's observation and turned to Mizuki with an awkward smile. Mizuki nodded and smiled, not caring. After a while, Minato knocked on the office door and walked in.
Mizuki, don't get me wrong, I have no intention of returning to Konoha. In fact, the people of Konoha have been looking for me, and I can't avoid it. As soon as I go out, they come looking for me. They are ordinary people who don't know ninjutsu. It's not easy to do anything.
As you know, I now have all the chores at home. I have to go out to buy groceries and take out the trash every day.
Mizuki was amused. Kushina is happy and relaxed. If you can return to Konoha, it may be more helpful to my unification plan. Minato breathed a sigh of relief. He was also worried that Mizuki would misunderstand something. It would be bad if his family was ostracized in Phoenix Village because of the misunderstanding. Mizuki smiled and said, It's okay. Everyone is deeply afraid of the Otsutsuki clan. The unified ninja world can reduce internal friction and defeat all enemies from outside the human world, such as the Otsutsuki clan. The laundry, cooking and sanitation are all his responsibility. Kushina wanted to help, but he pinned her down on the sofa and refused to move. At this time Mizuki said, Actually, my suggestion is that you return to Konoha and continue to be Hokage. According to him, now that he is no longer a Hokage, he is not burdened with trivial matters and has a lot of time to spend with his family. He must do the housework at home by himself.
On the day Minato was resurrected, he saw the power of Otsutsuki Urashiki in Konoha village, and also learned about the power of the Otsutsuki clan from Mirai Sasuke and Boruto. Kushina, I should tell you enough. My pursuit is to unify the ninja world. Since Minato came to Phoenix Village and reunited with his family, he has become a housekeeper. It's definitely helpful for your own plans. I also know that if the ninja world continues to maintain its status quo, when Otsutsuki comes, it may be really difficult to resist. Even Tsunade, who had always been opposed to Mizuki, stopped saying anything about Mizuki's unification plan after learning part of the future. Mizuki thought for many days and felt that it would be better for Minato to return to Konoha than to stay in Phoenix Village. Minato thought Mizuki was suspicious and wanted to explain, but Mizuki waved his hand and said, Don't worry, I don't mean anything else by saying this. Minato did not agree or refuse, but said, I have to go back and discuss it with my wife. Chapter 275. Ninja Cat Watermelon's Moment of Becoming Stronger. Meowstar, there is a laboratory in Watermelon's castle. At this time, Zigwa was wearing a white lab coat and looking at the 5 white rats in the experimental box. There are various testing instruments outside the experimental box to detect the physical condition of the white mice. After eating the capsule, their strength and speed are indeed doubled. The effect is the same as that of genuine stalactite. Let's see if there are any side effects. 10 minutes passed quickly and the effects of the medicine wore off. Zigwa didn't blink, staring at the white mice and the experimental data updated in real time on the testing equipment. The white rats showed no other adverse symptoms other than becoming weak and languid. Experimental data also showed that the bodies of these white mice returned to their original state, except for some fatigue. The effect is exactly the same. My god, Mizuki's copying ninjutsu is simply a magical skill. Watermelon's face was full of surprise, and his beard and tail were raised. 1 drop for 10 drops. Since I came to this island, I have secretly saved 1 drop every year. So far, I have saved a total of 37 drops. I gave 3 drops to Mizuki, leaving 34 drops. In other words, I can still get 340 drops from Mizuki. Oh my god, with more than 300 drops, my strength can finally be improved, and it can be improved twice in a row. Zigwa's eyes were full of fire. It couldn't wait to come to the treasure house, took the remaining 34 drops of stalactite it had accumulated, and hurriedly came to the ninja world. Mizuki, you agreed to exchange 10 drops of stalactite for me. Will you regret it? Mizuki said. Of course I won't regret it. How about it? How much do you have in your hand? Watermelon. I have 34 drops in my hand. Watermelon took out 34 capsules. Mizuki said happily. Give it to me. When I copy it in a few days, I will return 340 drops to you. Zigwa was afraid of being cheated, so he said, no, you give me the rest of your hand first, and I will give it to you. If the calculation is correct, you still have 30 drops on your hand, right? It remembers what Mizuki said, it can be copied 20 times. Mizuki had taken 3 drops before, but after copying it 20 times, it was 60 drops. He had taken 30 drops before, but there were no 30 drops left. You are such a clever little guy. Mizuki took out 30 capsules and gave them to it, saying, let's go to the head office now. Only then was Zigwa satisfied with the exchange. Zigwa took these capsules and left happily. Mizuki also smiled. Watermelon felt that it was making a lot of money, but it didn't know that Mizuki was the one who took the lion's share. The 20 times copy is just to fool fools. You can return them to your disciples. After these stalactites are returned, the 3,000 warriors from the Kingdom of Birds will be able to sweep across the Kingdom of Wind. The Country of Wind, Daming Mansion. When the daimyo of the Kingdom of Wind learned that 5,000 warriors had been massacred, he was so angry that he trembled all over. And when the certificate of credence of the Kingdom of Birds was delivered to him, after reading it, he was so angry that he vomited blood. 20 billion taels of compensation were paid to the defeated countries. If they couldn't pay it, they would get supplies of equal value, and they would simply cede the land when they were informed. Who wouldn't be angry after seeing this, hateful? Damn little bird girl, advertisement, I will capture you and ravage you day and night. Send troops, send troops. 5,000 warriors are not enough, so send 10 times the force, 50,000. I don't believe that a mere 3,000 warriors from the Kingdom of Birds can withstand my 50,000 army. The news that the Kingdom of Wind had sent another 50,000 troops quickly spread to the Kingdom of Birds. Daimyo Toki panicked again and came to Phoenix Village to meet Mizuki in person. No wonder she panicked, after all, the gap between 3,000 people and 50,000 people was too big. Even with the secret medicine provided by Mizuki, which can make these 3,000 people stronger in 10 minutes, it is impossible for a tiger to fight against a pack of wolves. So what if you can fight 1 against 3 after taking the secret medicine? With a headcount gap of more than 10 times, fighting 1 against 3 is useless. Don't worry daimyo, 50,000 people are nothing. Mizuki didn't panic at all. Toki said, Mizuki-sama, I know your secret medicine is powerful, but the enemy has too many troops. It is impossible for our country's 3,000 warriors to withstand it. Mizuki smiled and said, it is true that you can't block a head-on confrontation, but fighting is not a duel. When you are outnumbered, there is no need to fight head-on. Build a great wall at the border. With the advantage of the city wall, not to mention 50,000 people, even 100,000 people can easily withstand it. Ibis frowned. However, the national strength of the Kingdom of Birds is not enough to build the Great Wall. Even if it can be built, it is too late now. The army of the Kingdom of Wind will arrive in 10 days at most. Mizuki. Leave the matter of the Great Wall to Phoenix Village. Ibis's eyes lit up. Yes, powerful ninjas have the ability to change the terrain. Building a Great Wall is not easy. Then Ibis asked again, if the ninjas build the city wall, will the outside world find an excuse to say that Phoenix Village violated the ninja regulations and interfered in the war between warriors? Mizuki said, it's just to strengthen national defense. As long as you don't kill the warrior yourself, it won't be a violation, so don't worry, daimyo. The daimyo stayed in Mizuki's office for more than an hour. When he came out, his face was red and he went back satisfied. Mizuki came to Nawaki and told him, Nawaki, I will give you a task. Go to the border junction of the Bird Country and the Wind Country and build a great wall along the border. It doesn't need to be too high, 3 meters is enough. Mizuki gave some more details, and Nawaki took the order and set off immediately. Mizuki stopped him again, took out 3 stalactite capsules, and said, this is for you. Take 1, and it will temporarily increase your strength and speed by twice. The return of the system is a little troublesome. Each time it is calculated as a single item. Therefore, if you send 3 capsules, the system will directly count it as 3 awards. The only thing that can be accumulated and calculated is money. No matter how much money is sent, it will be counted once. This is the only conscientious part of the system. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Host grants disciple Senju Nawaki 1 drop of stalactite, triggering 5,000 times return. Close black lens bracket. Congratulations to host for obtaining the equivalent of 5,000 drops of stalactite. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. 3,000 times return. Congratulations. 3,000 drops. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket, 2000 times return. Congratulations, 2000 drops. After 3 returns, the multiples were not low, and Mizuki had 10,000 more stalactites. He found the watermelon and gave it 340 drops. This stalactite will have a worse effect on people with stronger strength and speed. Mizuki tried to eat one, but it didn't work at all. Therefore, it doesn't feel bad at all to give these to watermelon. Anyway, there are many. Advertisement after Mizuki left, Zigwa jumped 3 feet high on the spot, full of surprise. Ha ha ha, wahahahaha, hum hum hum, great, really great. With more than 300 drops of physical enhancement liquid, this Viscount watermelon's strength can finally be improved. When the opportunity comes, I can't stop it. I have been saving for more than 30 years and only saved 37 drops. But I didn't expect that in the blink of an eye, it would be more than 300 drops. It immediately returned to Meowstar, came to the practice room and closed the door tightly. He took out a copper cup, then took out 100 capsules, carefully exploded the capsule shell with his claws, squeezed out the milky white liquid inside, and dripped into the copper cup. One by one, when all the stalactites in the 100 capsules were dropped into the copper cup, it took out a bottle of unknown liquid and dropped a few drops into it. Then put a copper spoon in and stir. After stirring for half an hour, it stopped. A strange phenomenon occurred in the copper cup, and the liquid inside was stratified. The milky white sinks to the bottom, and the top becomes transparent, and the milky white sinking to the bottom is still converging in the middle, until finally, it gathers into a small milky white bead the size of a grain of rice. Haha, it's done. Watermelon couldn't wait any longer. He reached in with his claws, carefully pulled out the milky white bead, threw it directly into his mouth and swallowed it. Once the food is eaten, its body will soon change. The muscles all over the body are expanding, the hair becomes thicker, and the eyes become sharper. 10 minutes later, it returned to its original state. There seemed to be no change in appearance, but its strength and speed had doubled. This enhancement is not temporary, but permanent. It's great. This feeling of becoming stronger quickly is so great. There are more than 200 drops left, so we can do it again. It does it again, but this time it's not 100 drops, but 200 drops. Soon, a milky white bead that was larger than before was eaten by it, and its strength and speed doubled again. My current strength is enough to become a marquis and obtain a better fief. No, my strength cannot be exposed. I can never leave this island. Only this island produces physical strength enhancing liquid. Every year, 11 drops are exchanged for Mizuki, which is 110 drops. 10 drops are given as tribute to the royal family, and I make a net profit of 100 drops. It only takes 4 years for me to improve again. Watermelon is full of expectations. Ninja World, Rain Country, Rain Shinobi Village. Most of his body was exposed to the ground. Although he was soaked in the rain, he didn't care. He looked at the tower in the distance and said to himself, Obito is dead, and Nagato's personality has also changed due to Yahiko's resurrection. At this point, my plan can no longer be implemented. What should we do next? Are we going to have to wait a few more decades for Ashura and Indra to be reincarnated again? No, we can't wait any longer. Mom can't hold on any longer. It seems that we still have to count on Madara. He is the only one who has seen the stone tablet, and he is the only one who firmly believes in Project Tasuki no Mi. I can only use Impure World Reincarnation. Orochimaru is dead. Fortunately, he is not the only one who can do Impure World Reincarnation. Hey. Amid laughter, Zhu dived underground and headed towards Tien Country. High in the sky, Sage of Six Paths watched Z leave and nodded. He looked in the direction of the Kingdom of Wind and the Kingdom of Birds. It seems that Mizuki can't sit still anymore. In this case, the Fourth Ninja World War will start from the Kingdom of Wind and the Kingdom of Birds. Chapter 276. This is why parents dislike their son. Night, Naruto's house. Naruto tossed and turned in the bedroom, unable to sleep and very irritable. Hinata's cheeks were blushing, her eyes were open and she was looking at the ceiling, her ears perked up. The sound was so loud that it felt like the whole house was shaking. What are mom and dad doing? They are so noisy every night. They talk during the day and still don't stop at night. Naruto couldn't stand it anymore. He jumped up from the bed, walked out of the room barefoot in his pajamas, and faced the next door. Go to the bedroom. As soon as I walked out of the room, the sound from next door suddenly disappeared and the house became quiet. Naruto paused. It's finally quiet. It seems that you noticed that I was up, Just be quiet and go back to sleep, I'm so sleepy. He turned around and pushed the door open into his room. In the next room, Minato and Kushina breathed a sigh of relief. Kushina scolded, it's all your fault for making such a big noise. Minato lay on the bed, looking at Kushina sitting on him, speechless. Am I making a lot of noise? I didn't move at all? Continue. But at this moment, Naruto's voice sounded next door. Ninja technique. Shadow clone technique. Naruto lay down on the bed and told Shadow Clone. Go out and keep watch. If it's too noisy, just remind me. I won't let anyone sleep in the middle of the night. I'm still a child. Poor sleep affects my growth, okay? Mizuki and Kushina. Can I still have this child? Kushina said angrily. No, I can't survive this day. I'm going to give Naruto a drug for dinner tomorrow, so as not to disturb us. Minato. Giving drugs to children, is this the real mother? Ahem, don't. Get dressed, I will take you out. There is a hot spring hotel in the capital of bird country. The environment is very good and no one will disturb you. I guarantee your satisfaction. After Minato finished speaking, he felt that the atmosphere was not right. There is murderous intent. He looked up tremblingly and saw Kushina staring at him. How do you know? Who did you go with, Minato? Honey, listen to my explanation, it's not what you think. It's Hisashi. Hisashi told me. I won't lie to you, I really won't lie to you. At Naruto's house, Minato's screams like a pig were heard, as well as his continuous begging for mercy. Even Naruto's shadow clone knocked on the door to ask about the situation, but the angry Kushina punched the door open. Naruto was so frightened that he could only lie on the bed and cover his head with the quilt. It took a while for the movement to subside. In the capital of bird country, the Sweet Honey Hot Spring Hotel, and the independent hot spring pool, Minato and Kushina finally ended their battle. Kushina was very satisfied and finally forgave Minato. Kushina, Mizuki found me and wanted me to return to Konoha and continue to be the Hokage. Kushina frowned. She was full of disgust for Konoha, and when she heard about Konoha, she felt very unhappy. Why did Mizuki plan this? He himself defected from Konoha, why didn't he go back? If you don't reply, Mizuki won't do what he says. If you want to reply, let him reply on his own. If Minato returns to Konoha, he will definitely go back with him. She was angry when she thought about what those villagers had done to Naruto. Minato. Well, it's up to you, I won't reply. He hugged Kushina and smiled. Go to sleep when you are tired. Don't think about unhappy things. From now on, our family will live here happily. Well, give Naruto some more brothers and sisters. Kushina glared. How many babies will you have? You think I'm Isao and you have to give birth to yourself. One of them is annoying. I can't feel at ease doing anything at home, and I have to sneak out. If there are more, it will be difficult to survive. Minato was also a little embarrassed. It is really unpleasant to be interrupted and forced to interrupt while doing work. Even if you do it a few more times, something may go wrong in that area. But what can be done? The child is still underage and cannot be kicked out of the house. Suddenly his eyes lit up and he said, what do you think about letting Naruto return to Konoha as a Hokage? Kushina's eyes also lit up, and she thought to herself, that's right, Naruto went to Konoha, wouldn't there be no one to disturb her and Minato? At that time, I won't be able to do whatever I want and be as loud as I want. But then she denied it. Advertisement, no, Naruto suffered so much discrimination and indifference in Konoha. Konoha is the place where pain was born for him. If you let him go back, wouldn't you push him into a pit of fire? Minato. No, I think it would be a good thing for Naruto to return to Konoha. Konoha is the source of Naruto's pain, but only in Konoha can he relieve the knot in his heart and completely get out of the shadow of the past. If he is allowed to live in the shadow of his childhood all his life, the darkness in his heart will gradually accumulate until it finally breaks out. Kushina was silent. In fact, she was also worried. Some experiences are unforgettable. She found that Naruto often had nightmares when sleeping at night, talking in his sleep. Don't ignore me, why don't you play with me? That helplessness made her heart ache to the point of bleeding. This is why she hates Konoha more and more. Naruto is a cheerful child. He usually seems careless, but I can feel that he is extremely sensitive. He cherishes every relationship and is afraid of worrying those around him. So he kept his pain in his heart and never told us. But this is not a long-term solution after all. We have to find a way to resolve the darkness in his heart. The only way I can think of is to let him return to Konoha. The adoration and love of the villagers may be effective. In addition, Naruto's dream since childhood was to become a Hokage and be recognized by the villagers. This is an opportunity to fulfill his dream. Kushina was a little moved. What you said seems to make sense, but Naruto has attacked Konoha before. Will the people of Konoha village accept him? Although Konoha sent a letter of apology from all the villagers, who knows if it was just a formality to coax Minato to go back? Minato said. No, Orochimaru also launched a plan to collapse Konoha, and he can still become the 5th Hokage. Also, there are rumors about Uchiha Itachi in the ninja world these days. According to my speculation, there is a big problem in Konoha, and there is an urgent need for a new Hokage to take over to stabilize the situation. The current Orochimaru is probably fake. I am really afraid that something has happened. Even an S-class rebellious ninja like Uchiha Itachi can be exonerated, and even dragged back to be a Hokage. This shows that Konoha has reached a point of desperation. Let Naruto go back and it will definitely be accepted. Kushina nodded. But then she asked, you want Naruto to return to Konoha so much, don't you just want to drive him out of the house so that we can do things more conveniently? Minato said righteously. How is it possible, am I such a superficial person? Naruto is our son, how can I dislike him? Dislike? Kushina grasped the point. You really dislike him, so you want to send him away for this reason, right? Huh, man, you know how to think about problems with your lower body, even your son is thrown aside. I see through you. Minato. Is a woman's intuition so accurate? No, absolutely not. She couldn't admit it even to death, otherwise she would really think that she only cared about her lower body. No, oh, it's so sad. It seems that my charm is not attractive enough, and you have become rational in front of me. Minato. How do I answer this? It's all about giving propositions. The next day, Minato found Mizuki and expressed his thoughts. If you don't return to Konoha, let Naruto return to Konoha as Hokage? Mizuki was speechless. He finally brought Naruto out of Konoha. The eye drops he took every day made him feel extremely bad about Konoha. If he was allowed to go back, wouldn't he be back before liberation? But think about it carefully, if Naruto becomes the Hokage, wouldn't the entire Konoha become his own? Compared to Minato, Naruto listens to himself more. Mizuki asked. Are you and Kushina willing to let him return to Konoha alone? Minato. Naruto and I are both flying thunder gods. If nothing happens, I can take Kushina to see him. He can also come back whenever he wants. It doesn't matter if he comes back and sleeps every night. Well, flying thunder god is really convenient. Minato added, Naruto's dream since childhood is to become a Hokage and be recognized by the villagers. If his dream comes true, it may be able to eliminate the darkness hidden in his heart. Mizuki thought for a moment, nodded, and said, okay, I agree, let Naruto return to Konoha to be the Hokage. Of course, he has to agree to this. His opinion of Konoha is not good, not necessarily I will agree. Minato. Don't worry, I will communicate with him. The final decision is up to him. After leaving Mizuki's office, Minato found Naruto, and the father and son had a heart-to-heart talk. Naruto, what do you think of Konoha now? If you were asked to return to Konoha, would you go back? Naruto was stunned and said, actually, my hatred for Konoha has almost disappeared with the deaths of the third generation and Danzo. Minato asked. Don't you hate those villagers? After all, they did that to you before. Naruto smiled and said, the culprit is the third Hokage. They were just deceived by the third generation. If it were me, I would probably be like them. From Sasuke, I understand one thing, that is, when a person is swallowed up by hatred, he will become someone else, until he finally reaches a dead end. I'm not Sasuke. Although I have suffered hardships, I know that people should look to the future instead of staying in the past. Minato was both happy and distressed. Naruto is only 13 years old and has already learned to think from other people's perspective. He is so sensible. Advertisement such a character is enough to hold the position of shadow and lead a village. Naruto added, although I don't hate it, I won't go back to Konoha if I am asked to do so. Here are my parents, Master Mizuki, Granny Tsunade, and everyone. If I go back to Konoha, I will be alone again. Minato. But now there is a mission that requires you to return to Konoha village to serve as the 6th Hokage. Huh? Naruto was shocked. You want me to do the 6th Hokage? Why? Minato. This is a mission issued by your master. Either I go or you go, but I think you are more suitable than me. You can forgive those villagers because you are the person involved and you are qualified to forgive. But I am your father. I am not qualified to forgive them and will never forgive them, so it is impossible for me to go back. Naruto frowned. Do I have to go? Minato. You should know that Mizuki wants to unify the ninja world and concentrate the power of ninjas to fight against the Otsutsuki clan. If you serve as Hokage, it will be much easier to absorb Konoha, which will be more conducive to the unification of the ninja world. Naruto said. That's it, since it is for the ninja world, then I am willing to return to Konoha. But I am only 13 years old. Will Konoha let me be a Hokage? Also, there is a Hokage in Konoha now. When I go back, I can't kill Orochimaru and take the Hokage's position by force, right? Minato explained. Konoha first sent a letter of apology and tried every means to get me to go back. Seeing that it didn't work, they released news of Uchiha Itachi's fake defection in an attempt to pull Uchiha Itachi back. My guess is that something happened to Orochimaru and Konoha is in desperate need of a new Hokage. Don't worry, since I decided to let you go, I will figure out the situation. Minato planned to go to Konoha to get information first and find out. In the office, Mizuki was thinking about a reason to get out the 9 tails, the half-yin element, from Minato's body. Also, the 9 tails, half of the yang attribute in Naruto's body, must be taken out and kept as his own first, and then given to his disciples, so that they can be returned to the system one more time. 9 tails is no better than other tailed beasts. An ordinary 9 tails can defeat 8 other tailed beasts alone, which shows how powerful 9 tails is. Send 9 tails to trigger the return. The returned 10 tails will definitely be extraordinary and comparable to 10 tails, and may even surpass 10 tails. But even though he was the benefactor of Naruto's family, it was not appropriate to ask for the 9 tails in their bodies. What can we do about it? After thinking about it, I couldn't think of a suitable reason. Forget it, don't rush this, just take your time. Now let's continue sending tailed beasts and exchange them for 10 tails. Last month, 3 tails and 7 tails were given to Shiro and Hinata respectively, and the system returned 2 10 tails and a sacred tree fruit. Now Mizuki still has 1 tail, 2 tails, 4 tails, and 5 tails. It is useless to keep them. It is better to continue to exchange for 10 tails. Mizuki currently has a total of 9 apprentices, namely Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura, Nobita, Rock Lee, Senju Nawaki, Hyuga Neji, Minazuki, White, Hyuga Hinata. Among them, Sasuke and little Sakura have already received their lunchboxes, so there is no need to think about it. Naruto has 9 tails in his body and cannot send them away for the time being. Xiao Li is in Konoha, and Xiao Li doesn't have much chakra, so he is not suitable to become a Jinchuriki. Nobita's qualifications are not good, and his chakra is not enough, so he is not suitable to become a Jinchuriki for the time being. Haku and Hinata have become Jinchuriki. Nawaki and Neji are the only ones left. It's perfectly fine for them to become Jinchuriki, so let's ask them. Mizuki approached Neji and Nawaki respectively and asked them if they would accept the tailed beasts and become Jinchuriki. The two of them agreed directly without thinking too much. Nawaki was resurrected by Mizuki, and Neji's father Hyuga Hizashi was also resurrected by Mizuki. Mizuki could not repay their kindness, so when Mizuki proposed, they agreed without hesitation. One tail is good at wind style and magnet style, and can also seal. Two tails is good at fire style, controlling blue flames. Four tails is good at bloodline limited lava style. Five tails is good at bloodline limited boil style. Then he thought that in the anime Four Tails Sun Wukong said that it was the Monkey King from the Water Curtain Cave. Mizuki raised his eyebrows and asked doubtfully, Wagwoshin? Neji. Me too. I practice taijutsu. There are no requirements for tailed beasts. Except for one tail, everything else is fine. Host grants the disciple Senju Nawaki the two-tailed beast Mutabi, triggering a 3000 times return. Close black lens bracket. One-tail Shukaku doesn't let people sleep, so no one wants to be Shukaku's Jinchuriki. The flower and fruit mountain in the ninja world has a purpose. Host grants the disciple Hyuga Neji tailed beast Four Tails Sun Wukong, triggering a 6000 times return. Close black lens bracket. These four-tailed beasts each have their own strengths. How do you plan to choose? Mizuki said. In that case, give the second tail to Nawaki and the four tails to Neji. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket, TCH. I thought it was the Wagwo Mountain in Journey to the West. He took Nawaki and Neji to the Kamui space, and then used the 6 paths yin and yang seal to seal the 2 tails and 4 tails into their bodies respectively. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket Nawaki said. I use wood style, except one tail. I use everything else. Congratulations to host, you have obtained a complete 10 tails and a chakra fruit. Close black lens bracket. Peas. Happy Dragon Boat Festival everyone. Today's holiday is just one chapter, but the word count is close to 5,000 words. I wish you a happy reading. Congratulations to host, you have received a complete 10 tails, 2 chakra fruits, and a map of the secret realm of Wagwo Mountain. Close black lens bracket. Next, I will seal the tailed beast into your bodies. Chapter 277. The effect of chakra fruit, blue eyes again. Regardless of the flower and fruit mountain, Mizuki is full of expectations for the 3 newly obtained chakra fruits. Each fruit is produced by the divine tree absorbing the energy of an entire planet, so it is also called a divine tree fruit. Mizuki has already eaten a chakra fruit, and the chakra in his body is almost endless. It is impossible to use powerful ninjutsu casually. System. What will happen if I eat all 3 of them? Mizuki was curious. The Otsutsuki clan planted sacred trees, guarded them for thousands of years after planting, and brought the finally ripe chakra fruit back to the Otsutsuki clan. The senior leaders of the Otsutsuki clan will use chakra fruits to refine chakra elixirs, and the refined elixirs will be given to the people of the Otsutsuki clan. The more you eat, the stronger you become. Mizuki doesn't know how many elixirs can be refined from one chakra fruit, but there must be more than one. Presumably, after the elixir is made, it will be easier to digest and absorb, which can maximize the effectiveness of the medicine. Therefore, compared to eating chakra fruit directly, the effect is definitely better if it is made into elixir and then eaten. The Otsutsuki clan also relies on this method to continue to grow stronger and become a powerful clan in the universe. Mizuki didn't know how to refine chakra elixir, otherwise he could give it a try. The system said, after eating, strength, endurance, speed, reaction, defense, recovery, hearing, vision, etc. will be comprehensively enhanced. In addition, cultivation qualifications will be enhanced, vitality will be enhanced, soul will be enhanced, and chakra will continue to increase. Close black lens bracket. After eating 3 chakra fruits in total, the Rinnegan Sharingan between your eyebrows will evolve into the Mangekyo Reincarnation Sharingan, and you will obtain a new pupil technique, which is more powerful than the Bloodline Snare. Close black lens bracket. Mangekyo Samsara Sharingan? A new pupil technique that surpasses the Bloodline Snare? Tisk, 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 to be honest, it's a bit tempting. Eat 9 pills in total, and your Mangekyo Samsara Sharingan will evolve into the Eternal Mangekyo Samsara Sharingan. The power of the eye technique will be enhanced again, and you will obtain a leak-free body. In addition to Bloodline Snare, High Purity Immortal Technique, Advanced Sealing Technique, and Advanced Soul, nothing can harm you except through secret magic. Close black lens bracket. Mizuki was speechless. What is this? Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, a Matryoshka doll? Is this? Will Rinnegan Sharingan be next? At the same time, your soul will transcend the mortal level, reaching a realm above 6 paths, and your spirit can slightly affect reality. You don't need to use your hands to kill, just your brain. Even if they are thousands of miles apart, as long as they are within the range of perception, a single thought can annihilate the souls of the weak. Close black lens bracket. Hearing this, Mizuki was shocked. The mind affects reality. You don't need to use your hands to kill someone, just a thought can kill someone. This is much better than opening the 9th divine gate. 9 chakra fruits don't seem to be too many. Now that I have sent out 4-tailed beasts, the system will return 4 chakra fruits. On average, 1-tailed beast has 1 chakra fruit. Calculating this way, if all 9-tailed beasts are sent out, there will be 9 chakra fruits. No, there are 2 9-tails, so you can give them 10 times in total. Mizuki's eyes are blazing. This, 6 paths are very promising. Advertisement: by eating a total of 81 chakra fruits, your spirit will last forever, you will be immortal, transcend the past and future, control time and space, and become a true god. Close black lens bracket. Become a god directly? But 81 chakra fruits, forget it. Why do you get so many? Even if he learns Sage of 6 paths and divides the 10 tails in his hands into 9-tailed beasts to send to his apprentices, these 10 tails are returned by the system and cannot be used again. If you want to get 81 chakra fruits, there is only one way to snatch 10 tails from the Otsutsuki clan. Let's talk about it later. He looked at Nawaki and Neji, who had just completed the seal and became Jinchuriki. The sealing technique on the two's abdomen disappeared, and the seal was stabilized. Of course, in order for them to be able to use the power of the tailed beast one day, Mizuki did not completely seal the seal, but left a gap. The tailed beast chakra will slowly leak out through the gaps, giving them time to adapt. When one day they adapt to the tailed beast chakra, they can control it appropriately until they finally reach the level of perfect control. How do you feel? Nawaki got up and moved his body, saying he was not stressed. The physique of the Senju clan is not inferior to that of the Uzumaki clan. Nawaki has even awakened the wood style. His physique and chakra are directly at the forefront of the ninja world. It is very easy to seal the tailed beast. Neji, on the other hand, looked a little pale. The 4-tailed Sun Wukong sealed into his body seemed to be dishonest and was destroying the seal wantonly, causing Neji's chakra to be consumed rapidly. And a large amount of magma-like red chakra overflowed from the seal, forming a thin-tailed beast coat on Neji's body. It was 4-tails chakra, with such heat that Neji's skin burned. Neji was in pain, but gritted his teeth and held on. To resist the erosion of tailed beast chakra, chakra needs to be consumed. Repairing a seal broken by 4 tails will also automatically consume chakra. Neji's chakra is not that much, and it is being consumed like crazy at the moment, and is about to bottom out. This is why Jinchuriki, who seals the tailed beasts, needs the right person. Not everyone can become a Jinchuriki. Mizuki did not take action, but reminded, your own chakra is not enough, use Senjutsu chakra. Neji, who was in despair, reacted immediately and hurriedly mobilized the magic chakra. The Senjutsu chakra stored in the body was obtained by drinking the Toad Celestial Brew given by Mizuki in Rock Shinobi Village before, and it has not been used up yet. Sure enough, when he mobilized the magic chakra, the seal was immediately strengthened, and no matter how 4 tails destroyed it, it could not be damaged at all. The tailed beast coat on the body quickly receded, and the burned parts of the body also recovered quickly. After a few minutes, 4 tails finally calmed down. The seal is too strong to be broken, and it doesn't intend to waste any effort. Of course, honesty is only temporary. Neji opened his eyes and breathed a sigh of relief. Advertisement, huh? Mizuki looked into Neji's eyes and found that everything was normal. No, I'm definitely not wrong. The blue pupils that flashed just now are definitely not ordinary white eyes. The Byakugan of the Hyuga clan are all white, how could they have blue eyes? Blue, but not Tensigan. Blue pupils, black conjunctiva, what kind of eyes are these? Mizuki thought of something and was secretly surprised. Could it be Jingyan? The pure eye evolved from the Byakugan and has the same see-through ability as the Byakugan. However, the Byakugan sees things in black and white, while the pure eye sees in color. In the anime, Boruto awakens the pure eye in his right eye. The power of the pure eye is also very powerful. It is said that it is extremely rare among the Otsutsuki clan. The pure eye can see through the movement process of time and space ninjutsu. For example, in the Flying Thunder God technique, other than yourself, no one else knows where you will reappear after you disappear from here. But the pure eye can see it. In short, ordinary white eyes can see through matter. And the pure eye can see through space. I didn't know if it was a clean eye, so Mizuki asked. Neji, when you closed your eyes just now, did you notice any changes in your vision? Mizuki sighed in his heart. Before Hinata used Senjutsu chakra, her eyes would turn into Tensigan.
Sure enough, I can see through space. Of course, Mizuki is just guessing. Everyone's physique is different, and what happens to them will be different. Byakugan plus Senju chakra plus tailed beast chakra, any chance of opening the pure eye. But that state only lasted a few seconds and disappeared when I opened my eyes. I just discovered that even though Byakugan's vision is not turned on, I can clearly see everything around me, and it's in color. This is the Kamui space, and Neji can actually see the outside world directly. This pure eye is really a bit weird. Mizuki asked again. In addition to seeing the surrounding scenery clearly, did you see anything else? Is it because of the tailed beast chakra? How did Neji awaken his pure eye? Neji frowned and said, I seem to have seen Fengwang village and Fengying tower, but it was very blurry. It should be an illusion. Neji also tried, but there was no change in his eyes. Mizuki confirmed that it was Jingyan. Neji was stunned when he heard this. How did you know? Hinata can briefly activate Tensegan with the help of Senjutsu Chakra, but Neji cannot. It's just like what you see when you open your eyes. He is very curious. Chapter 278. Continuous Returns, Garbage World Tree Seeds. Mizuki's 9 Magatama Rinnegan can't do this. He patted Neji's shoulder and said with a smile, "Don't worry, that's not an illusion. Get along well with the four tails. When you can perfectly control the tailed beast chakra, your strength will skyrocket. What will happen if you combine the experience of being able to see through space with the gentle fist of the Hyuga clan? Can you give people acupoints through space? Can 8 trigrams air palm directly penetrate space and hit the enemy?" Although it sounds a bit unrealistic, it is very exciting. If the ordinary gentle fist doesn't work, then develop a new and stronger gentle fist. With Neji's extraordinary talent, it's not impossible. At this time Neji said, "Master Mizuki, my chakra is not enough to maintain the tailed beast seal. Although the Senjutsu chakra is effective, it will be exhausted in a few times. If this continues, I'm afraid." Mizuki nodded and said, "It doesn't matter, I'll take care of it. Let's go out first." The three of them left Kamui's space and returned to Mizuki's office. Just at this moment, Kushina came in and said, "At the southern border, there are the auras of strange ninjas dozens of meters away, and there are chakra fluctuations. They seem to be destroying something." Mizuki. To the south, on the border with the land of wind, there should be the ninjas of Sand Shinobi Village. If I guess correctly, they should be destroying the Great Wall. The Great Wall that Mizuki had asked Naoki to build was quickly completed. Mizuki also expected that ninjas from the Kingdom of Wind would come to cause damage. After all, with this Great Wall, warriors from the Kingdom of Wind would suffer a lot when attacking. Therefore, the daimyo of the Kingdom of Wind cannot sit back and watch his side gain a disadvantage, and must find a way to destroy the Great Wall. I didn't expect it to come so quickly. Ninjas building and destroying fortifications do not violate ninja regulations, as long as they do not attack warriors. The big deal is to start a war between ninjas. Mizuki isn't worried anyway. Sand Shinobi Village is just garbage. Mizuki said to Naoki, "You built the Great Wall, you should handle this matter. By the way, it's time to take the next step in learning your wood style." Mizuki took out 2 scrolls and threw them over. Naoki took it and took a look and was immediately excited. "Haha, thank you master. Of these 2 ninjutsu, one is wood style. Wood clone, one is wood style. The tree world is born. Both are very powerful ninjutsu, and wood clone is stronger than ordinary shadow clone. First of all, the wood is extremely realistic, making wood clone extremely difficult to spot. Madara, who could easily see through Naruto's shadow clone, was deceived by Hashirama's wood clone, which shows the realistic effect of wood clone. Secondly, wood is harder and more fleshy, so wood clone has strong combat power and strong defense. Another point is that shadow clone will dissipate after being attacked, but wood clone will not, because wood is a real entity. In addition to wood clone, it goes without saying that tree world is born. This is the signature wood style, which is powerful enough to fight tailed beasts. Looking at Naoki, who was full of joy, Mizuki smiled and said, "Okay, you go." Advertisement. Naoki took the order and left. At the same time, the system's voice sounded in Mizuki's mind. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Host awarded disciple Senju Naoki wood style. Wood clone technique. Triggers 1000 times return. Close black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, you have obtained the clone identification technique and the clone instigation technique. Close black lens bracket. Mizuki was surprised, it was the first time for such a return. Instead of returning a stronger clone technique, 2 weird ones were returned. One is the clone identification technique. Just by listening to the name, you will know what this technique does. Another clone's counterattack technique, I don't know if it's what I thought. As expected, the system introduced clone identification technique. Learn this technique, and you can easily distinguish the main body and the clone. Close black lens bracket. Mizuki was speechless. What's the use of this? It doesn't matter if he is the real person or his clones, just kill them all. What kind of identification skills are needed? The system continued to introduce clone instigation technique. After learning this technique, you can use it on other people's clones, so that they can be instigated and controlled by you without the main body being aware of it. Close black lens bracket. Mizuki thought to himself, this technique is good. This is equivalent to a clone version of distinguished heavenly gods. Quietly inciting other people's clones to rebel can often be miraculous. At this time, the system said, host, please note that the clone instigation technique can only be used on the clone. If used on the main body, the opponent will detect it and will never be able to use this technique on the clone. Close black lens bracket. It seems that this clone instigation technique must be used in conjunction with the clone identification technique. The system continues. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Host awarded disciple Senju Naoki wood style. The birth of the tree world technique triggers a 9999 times return. Close black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, you have obtained a world tree seed. Close black lens bracket. 9999 times return. World tree. If there wasn't someone else in the office, Mizuki would have screamed with his eyes wide open. World tree. This is a super advanced existence in mythology, fantasy, and fairy novels. Of course, the introduction of world tree is also different in different novels. For example, in Nordic mythology, the world tree constitutes the entire world, and in some novels, each leaf of the world tree is a world. Mizuki was shocked. What happened to the system? It suddenly sent out such a high-level thing. At this time, the system introduced. The seeds of the world tree are seriously damaged and are inherently deficient. They cannot plant the big world, but can only plant the small world. Close black lens bracket. Depend on. I knew it wouldn't be that cheap. System, please introduce what small thousand worlds is. Although it is very unpleasant, it is better than nothing. Small thousand worlds, according to host's understanding, is a solar system. Close black lens bracket. When the world tree seeds are swallowed, they will take root in the body and automatically absorb the energy in the void to grow. As they grow, they will open up the world inside the body. Close black lens bracket. When it grows up, the trunk turns into the sun, the branches turn into planets, and the leaves turn into satellites and meteorites. Close black lens bracket. At that time, the host will completely control the energy of a star system, and can destroy the planet with a single move. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Mizuki became interested and asked, how long does it take to grow? System. About 200 million years. Close black lens bracket. Mizuki. And. Immediately lose interest. Let's play, it's still 200 million years away. In another 200 million years, as long as Laozi is still alive, he will blow up the Milky Way with one punch. Does he still lack your stellar energy? The system added. Its natural growth time takes 200 million years. If the host provides energy to help it grow, the time can be greatly reduced. Close black lens bracket. As long as there is enough energy, it is not a problem to grow up in 2 years. Close black lens bracket. If there is high-level energy, it may be possible to make up for its innate defects, and it is possible to eventually plant the middle thousand world or even the great thousand world. Close black lens bracket. Mizuki chuckled in his heart. Painting a big pie, right? Laozi has no interest in raising a bottomless pit. Let this garbage sit in the system space and collect dust. The system return is over, but only a little time has passed. In the office, Kushina hasn't left yet. She asked. The enemy has a lot of ninjutsu, is it appropriate to let him go alone? She was asking about Naoki's safety. Mizuki said. Don't worry, the one who comes to cause destruction can be some kind of strong person. Besides, San Shinobi, unless he is a veteran strong person like Chio, the other young people are not very talented. Although Naoki went alone, Mizuki was not worried at all. San Shinobi is just too weak. Neji's chakra is still lacking, not enough to suppress four tails. Now even though we are sending people to destroy the city wall, what strong men can be sent? Without asking what it was, Neji picked up the cup and started to drink, but Mizuki hurriedly stopped him. Here are these 2 glasses of water for you. Mizuki took out the hero water, took out a small cup and poured 2 cups, 1 cup is enough for 1 mouthful. San Shinobi village, which is already not wealthy, is even worse. As a result, their numbers and puppets could not even touch the soles of Deidara's feet, let alone kill Deidara. Mizuki was stunned. Was it so fast? He originally wanted to explain some things, but he didn't expect them to go directly. Kushina nodded and said, Minato has taken Naruto to Konoha village. The senior management of San Shinobi village, who were vying for power, took action against Deidara under the instigation of Ebizo. But in this battle, nearly half of the buildings in San Shinobi village were destroyed, killing and wounding countless civilians and ninjas. These 2 cups are not for you to drink, just take them. Deidara is flying in the sky and dropping bombs, and no one can do anything about him. Previously, Scorpion and Deidara were ordered to attack San Shinobi village, but Scorpion didn't take any action. Deidara alone bombed San Shinobi village to the point where the villagers were suspicious. In the end, Chio rushed back to the village and used Bai's secret technique. 10 Chikamatsu people, these puppets flew directly into the sky under the control of the Chakra line, and launched a chase and interception of Deidara, and then drove Deidara out of the airspace of San Shinobi village. It needs to be improved. After Kushina left, Neji also planned to leave, but was stopped by Mizuki. The system that had just taken a break started to work again. Chapter 279. New Eye Technique, Good Fortune. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Host grants disciple Hyuga Neji a cup of heroic water, triggering a 1500 times return. Close black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, you have received a cup of diluted version of heroic water. Close black lens bracket. Diluted version of heroic water. Drink 1 cup, and the chakra capacity will be permanently increased, with a minimum increase of 3 times and a maximum of 20 times. The more original chakra, the smaller the improvement. Close black lens bracket. Tip. No side effects. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Host grants disciple Hyuga Neji a cup of heroic water, triggering a 500-fold return. Close black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, you got a cup of inferior version of the heroic water. Close black lens bracket. Inferior version of the hero's water. Drink 1 cup and the chakra capacity will be permanently increased, with the minimum increase being 0.1 times and the maximum being 10 times. The more original chakra, the smaller the improvement. Close black lens bracket. Tip. No side effects. Close black lens bracket. Return twice, neither was good. One is up to 20 times, and the other is up to 10 times. But it's enough for Neji. Stacking 2 cups can increase his chakra 200 times. Suppress 4 tails, that's enough. Come on, these 2 cups are for drinks. Have a drink first, and then another after a while. Although Neji couldn't understand Mizuki's behavior, he still followed Mizuki's words and drank a glass of inferior version of the king's water first. After drinking it, he quickly felt the changes in his body. The chakra in the body is like copying and pasting, increasing in large quantities and even overflowing outside the body. Master Mizuki, what is this? Mizuki then explained. Don't worry, what I give you to drink can permanently increase chakra. You don't have much chakra, so you can't maintain the seal to suppress 4 tails for a long time. But after drinking these 2 glasses of water, it will be fine. Neji said seriously. Thank you, Master. Mizuki. Okay, quickly gather your mind and control the chakra. Neji nodded and sat directly on the floor, closing his eyes to control the surge of chakra in his body. After a while, the chakra in his body stopped increasing, but the chakra that increased tenfold was still difficult for him to control. Neji opened his eyes and exclaimed, so many chakras. Mizuki smiled. It's not much, it's not much. As soon as he finished speaking, Neji immediately felt that the chakra that had just increased in size began to shrink. It shrank by more than half in the blink of an eye. Neji's expression changed. Isn't it said that it is permanently increasing? How come it started to decrease in just a few seconds? It's like digging up a basin of gold at home, but before weighing it, experts from the Cultural Relics Bureau came to hear about it. The gold was gone and turned into 500 yuan, a banner, and, yes, various media reports. Mizuki said. Don't worry, it's the seal in your body that absorbs the chakra. The seal suppresses the tailed beast, which requires a lot of chakra. Whenever you can perfectly control the tailed beast chakra, you won't need the power of the seal to suppress the tailed beast. At that time, this part of the chakra will be under your control again. There is another cup here. After drinking it, your chakra will increase another 20 times. Neji couldn't wait to drink the second cup, and the chakra surged again. The seal also begins to absorb chakra again. However, after 2 increases of chakra, it was fully 200 times that of Neji's original chakra. The seal absorbed less than half before it was full. Okay, now you have no shortage of chakra. Neji's current total amount of chakra is about 8 Kakashi. The seal has been mobilized less than half. He can control it at will, which is about 5 Kakashi. Although it is still not as good as a chakra player like Naruto, it can be regarded as an extremely large amount of chakra. At this time, blue chakra overflowed around Neji, which he could not control. The more chakra there is, the harder it is to control. Mizuki. Okay, let's go back and get used to it. Neji left, and in the office, Mizuki breathed a sigh of relief. I can be considered worthy of these apprentices. At least Neji returned the money 3 times this month. In the last 2 times, Mizuki didn't get any benefits at all, and he had no intention of getting any benefits. It's also because I'm strong enough that I don't have to look forward to my apprentices' glory anymore. Being poor cares themselves, being wealthy cares the world. When Mizuki was weak, every time he was granted a refund, he only considered himself. There were still many crises at that critical moment, and it was impossible to become stronger even if he didn't want to, so Naruto, Sasuke, little Sakura and others were all tools he used to become stronger. But now that his strength is very strong, it is possible to train his disciples appropriately. And at his current state, ordinary returns are of no use to him. Instead of getting a bunch of useless things for yourself, it is better to give more benefits to the apprentices. 2 tails, 3 tails, 4 tails, and 7 tails have all been given away. I still have 1 tail and 5 tails. It's useless to keep them. Give them all away. However, among the remaining disciples, Naruto does not need tailed beasts for the time being, and Lee is in Konoha, so he is no longer considered for the time being. There is only 1 Nobita left. Advertisement. Although Nobita's chakra has been improved several times, it is still not enough. We have to use the water of Nobita again. I couldn't find him. He said he took Zigua and Xiaohu to the capital of Bird Country to buy pet snacks. Let's start when he comes back in the evening. Now, continue to improve. Mizuki returned to Kamui space and took out the chakra fruit. There are 3 chakra fruits in total. After eating 3 chakra fruits in total, the 9 Magatama Rinnegan Sharingan between the eyebrows will evolve into the Mangekyo Reincarnation Sharingan, and you will gain a new pupil technique, the power of which exceeds the bloodline snare. I have already eaten 1 chakra fruit. If I eat 2 more, the 9 Magatama Samsara Sharingan between my eyebrows can evolve. So, Mizuki put away 1 chakra fruit again, leaving only 2. As long as he eats these 2 pills, he will have eaten 3 pills in total. If you eat 1 more, your strength will definitely improve, but there will be no qualitative change. Leave 1 unused in case you need it. Began to eat. Picking up a chakra fruit and eating it directly, Mizuki immediately noticed the changes in himself as the fruit entered his stomach. Strength, endurance, speed, reaction, defense, recovery, hearing, vision, etc. are comprehensively enhanced. Even if he doesn't rely on ninjutsu, just relying on physical skills, he can defeat the first time Six Paths Masters, just like Emperor Guy who opened all 8 inner gates. In addition, the cultivation qualifications, vitality, and soul power have also been greatly enhanced. Amount of chakra, doubled. Of course, he already has too much chakra to use up, so doubling it is not a necessity for him. Dull. He was already invincible in the ninja world, so what if he became twice as strong? He would still be invincible anyway. The feeling of loneliness arises spontaneously. He hummed unconsciously. Invincible is so lonely, invincible is so empty. Continue. Pick up the second chakra fruit and eat it. Begin to become stronger again, body and soul, from the outside to the inside, fully strengthened. But this time something is different. Mizuki clearly felt that there was something strange about the eyes between his eyebrows. A feeling of swelling and pain made him feel uncomfortable. But he didn't panic. He had already eaten 3 chakra fruits, and the eye between his eyebrows was about to evolve. When all the effects of the chakra fruit are absorbed, the swelling and pain in the third eye between the eyebrows slowly subsides. Mizuki stretched his hand into the void in front of him, and chakra shot out from his fingers, turning into a ball of water. Then the mass of water changed shape and turned into a mirror, facing Mizuki's face. Mizuki looked at himself in the mirror, and the third eye between his eyebrows slowly opened. Circles of corrugated lines are the characteristic of Rinnegan. In addition, the blood-red background color is the characteristic of Sharingan. The difference from before is that the 9 Magatama are gone. No, it's not that they are gone, but a new combination has been formed with just 1 Magatama. Every 3 Magatama stones form a counterclockwise triangular pinwheel, and a total of 3 triangular pinwheels are distributed around the center of the pupil in an equilateral triangle arrangement. Is this the Mangekyo reincarnation Sharingan you get after eating 3 chakra fruits? It's still just a Magatama, just the shape has changed. I don't know what the new eye technique is. The system has said that Mangekyo reincarnation Sharingan's pupil technique is a powerful force that surpasses Bloodline's snare. He closed his eyes and felt it carefully. After a while, he figured out the name and effect of the new pupil technique. The name of the new pupil technique is creation. But the name is a bit confusing and a bit general. What is created? As for efficacy, it's simple and clear. Create a soul. Create a new soul inside any non-living thing, or within a living thing. If a soul is created inside an inanimate body, then the creature will acquire some of the characteristics of the creature, such as growing hands that can move, a head that can think, being able to speak, etc. If a soul is created within a living being, the soul will seize control of the body. If successful, the original soul will descend to the Pure Land, and if failed, the new soul will be annihilated. Additionally, this newly created soul will be completely at Mizuki's command. This pupil technique is quite interesting. He returned to the office, sat on a chair, and looked at a pen on the table in front of him. Then the eye between the eyebrows emits a light, and this light enters the inside of the pen. Then a strange scene happened. The pen actually grew 2 legs and got up and walked around the table. Stop. The pen stopped immediately. Advertisement. Turn back. It immediately turned back. Mizuki tried a few more commands, and sure enough, the pen obeyed his instructions. It's become a sperm. Immediately afterwards, he used creation on the water glass on the table. The water glass grew a pair of wings and 2 small hands. Mizuki said, "Go get me a glass of water." I saw the water cup flapping its wings and flying up. It flew to the water dispenser, opened the faucet with my hand, and received the water myself. After it was full, it turned off the faucet, then flew up again, flew to Mizuki, and landed on the table. Interesting, really interesting. Mizuki found it very interesting, and used creation on the tables, chairs, lamps, windows, doors and other objects in the office one after another, turning them all into living things. The most interesting thing is that the door has a mouth and can talk. The art of creation is very interesting, but there is a price to pay for this art. Every time a new soul is created, some of Mizuki's soul is consumed. And these losses are permanent. Once or twice is nothing, but after using it more times, the feeling is still obvious. Mizuki had already cast fortune on more than a dozen objects in the office. At this time, he clearly felt that his head was slightly swollen. This is a sign of excessive consumption of soul power. There was a knock on the door. Before Mizuki could speak, the door said, "Please come in." Mizuki. He immediately shouted in a low voice, "Change back." Everything returned to its original shape, the pen's legs disappeared, the cup's hands and wings disappeared, and the door's mouth closed. Everything is back to normal, but they are still alive, just hiding themselves. Kakashi pushed the door open and found nothing unusual. "Kakashi, what do you want from me?" Mizuki asked. Kakashi walked to Mizuki's desk and was about to pull up a chair to sit down, but found that the chair had reached under his butt at some point. He was surprised at Mizuki's strength. He made the chair move without making a sound, but I didn't notice any movement at all. How strong is Mizuki? Mizuki glared at the chair behind Kakashi. Wherever he moved it, the chair moved by itself. The 4 soles of this chair are covered with short legs that look like caterpillar feet. They can move around on their own and move quietly. These little short legs are very short, but the speed of movement is not slow. Kakashi. The ninja school has been open for a while, and I have found several chess pieces from other villages, including those from Konoha Village, Sand Shinobi Village, and Mist Ninja Village. Rock Shinobi Village and Cloud Shinobi Village have not been found yet, but there must be some. What are you going to do with these children? Mizuki said casually. The ninja world will be unified sooner or later. These children will be the pillars of the ninja world in the future, so don't pay attention to them. Kakashi nodded. Mizuki asked. Are there any good seeds? Kakashi. I haven't found any particularly amazing talents yet. Mizuki nodded and said. Don't worry, the cultivation of talents takes time, so take your time. Phoenix Village needs to grow and develop its own talents. Even if the ninja world is unified in the future, Mizuki must have his own team, otherwise they will be people from other villages, and he will not know whether they are working in secret or not. Kakashi said. One thing is very important. I am the only teacher in the school now. Although it is Shadow Clone's personality and teaching methods are similar. Every class and every student receives exactly the same education, which is prone to problems. Students' learning methods also need to be diversified. After all, I am only one person and don't have many options. Mizuki thought for a moment and said, that's true. Then I'll find a way to find more teachers. In addition, Minato, Zabuza, Shizune, Kushina, Hizashi and others cannot be idle. They have to go to school to teach classes. The same goes for Tsunade, even if she goes to school to teach gambling. Don't underestimate gambling. Gambling also exercises your brain. People who gamble rarely get Alzheimer's disease because their brains are exercised and they are always thinking, so they are more flexible. Gambling can also exercise people's memory, logical thinking, observation skills, etc. I should also take some time every week to go to school and give practical lessons to the children. After Kakashi left, Mizuki immediately ordered, when other people are around in the future, you must not make any noise, otherwise I will use you as firewood. The other objects moved their bodies slightly to show that they understood. Only the door said, oh, I know. Mizuki realized the effect of using it on dead things, but he didn't know what it was like when using it on living things. Also explain, is a corpse considered a living thing or a dead thing? When used on a corpse, does it simply bring it back to life, or does it allow the body to grow more limbs while being brought back to life? Well, let's go find a small animal in the wild and try it. Chapter 280. Spiritual Beast. In the wilderness of the bird country, in an uninhabited place, Mizuki spotted a group of wild boars. These wild boars are all very large, with an average height of more than 2 meters. The most terrifying wild boar king is nearly 3 meters tall, and the tusks in its mouth are as thick as a human arm. They were all rough-skinned and thick flesh, running rampant in the wilderness. It's a good thing that no one lives nearby, otherwise there would be no way for people to survive with these giant beasts wandering nearby. Ordinary genin is not necessarily an opponent when facing these wild boars. They roll around on the ground every day, skin themselves on trees, bathe in mud, and fight fiercely with each other until they become thick and rough-skinned. Especially the wild boar king, who looked like he was wearing armor. I'm afraid if a great fireball technique hits it, it will only burn off the pig hair on the surface and blacken the pig's skin. There will be absolutely no damage under the skin. Such a beast is enough to become a ninja summoning beast, assisting ninjas in fighting. At this time, this group of wild boars were rolling leisurely in the mud pit, feeling very uncomfortable. The wild boar king occupied the center of the mud pit, soaking in it and sleeping with his eyes closed. The other wild boars playing around did not affect it at all. Mizuki opened the third eye between his eyebrows and cast the pupil technique, creation, towards the wild boar king. As the technique was completed, Mizuki suddenly felt that the power of his soul was less, which was greater than the accumulated consumption in the office before. Good guy, if you use it on living creatures, the consumption is more than 10 times greater than if you use it on dead things. Thanks to my constant drinking of Shen Yuan tea and eating 3 chakra fruits, my soul power has been greatly improved. If you were an ordinary person and used fortune on the wild boar king once, your soul power would be directly consumed by 1/3. If you do it 3 times, your soul power will be exhausted. At this time, the wild boar king who had been struck by fate suddenly opened his eyes, and then let out a shrill scream. It kept shaking its pig head, trying to shake something out, as if there was water in its head. At this time, in the pig king's sea of consciousness, in addition to the pig king's original soul, there was another soul. These 2 souls are both in the form of pigs, and are about the same size and strength. However, the newly appeared soul is very ignorant and seems to know nothing. But it knows one thing, and that is fighting. This is its instinct to kill the soul of the old pig king in front of it, occupy the body, and become the new pig king. The 2 souls were fighting. They used the most primitive methods, hitting, biting, gnawing, and doing everything possible to hurt each other. The appearance of injuries caused the soul power to be reduced. At first the 2 pigs were neck and neck, but as the battle continued, the new soul gradually gained the upper hand. The old soul has lived for many years, and its knowledge are far superior to those of the new soul. This causes it to have various emotions, fear, worry, etc. These negative emotions greatly affect its combat effectiveness. On the other hand, the new soul on the opposite side didn't understand anything. He didn't even know what death was. He was not afraid at all. He only knew how to fight with all his strength, without being affected by any factors, and to exert his full strength. One side is frightened and cowers, while the other side moves forward bravely without fear of death. So the outcome is decided. Finally, the old soul was defeated by the new soul, fell to the ground, and then turned into a point of light. Advertisement. Some of the light spots were absorbed by the new soul, while the other part entered the pure land of ultimate bliss. After absorbing these light spots, the new soul obtained part of the Pig King's memory, and immediately changed from ignorance to a much better understanding of the world. At this moment, it has completed the competition and became the new Pig King. In the mud pit, the Pig King's body became quiet. The next moment, it opened its eyes and looked in Mizuki's direction. It seems that the seizure was successful. Mizuki smiled, raised his hand and said, "Come here." The Pig King immediately crawled out of the mud pit and ran towards Mizuki happily, like a child running towards its mother's arms. Stop. Seeing that he would be hit if he didn't stop, Mizuki hurriedly shouted to stop. The Pig King stopped immediately. HMPH. Mizuki gave various instructions, and the Wild Boar King followed them one by one. It was obvious that his IQ was not low. Of course, pigs are limited by their brain capacity and their IQ is not high. Still within the range of pigs, but stronger than most pigs. Next, Mizuki tried to use the creation technique on various living creatures. After spending a lot of soul power, he came to a conclusion. When casting the creation technique, the amount of soul power consumed depends on the soul strength of the target. Generally speaking, those with higher IQs have greater soul strength, and Mizuki will consume more when using the fortune technique on them. For those with low IQ or even no IQ, such as insects such as ants and grasshoppers, and plants such as flowers and trees, Mizuki consumes very little, and the souls created are also very weak. In just half an hour, Mizuki gained a large group of animals and plants. In addition to wild boars, there are also sparrows, cuckoos, woodpeckers, fukuro, foxes, voles, ants, grasshoppers, bees, squirrels, large trees, grass, etc. Their souls were created by Mizuki, so to them, Mizuki is a father-like existence. It just consumes a lot of soul power. These consumptions are permanent, which is equivalent to cutting off part of his soul power and creating a new soul under the catalytic effect of pupil power. So strictly speaking, these new souls are part of his soul. Their souls were all created by me, and they are humane and different from ordinary beasts. But it doesn't have chakra, so it can't be considered a summoning beast. Why don't we just call it a spiritual beast? Mizuki was too lazy to think of a new name, so he just called it Spirit Beast. He thought that in the future, he would teach them chakra, or even teach them immortal arts. When they mastered it, they would become real spiritual beasts. Now, come back to the village with me. When you become stronger in practice, you can become the guardian beast of the village. Mizuki gave an order, and a large group of animals came to him and entered the Kamui space in a mighty manner. As for the flowers, plants and trees, although they have souls, their IQs are extremely low and they cannot move yet. Mizuki does not intend to take them away and let them continue to live here. Mizuki returned to Phoenix Village and released the spirit beasts from Kamui's space. Large and small, there were 40 or 50 in total. Advertisement. There are more than a dozen wild boars alone. As soon as they appeared, they caused panic among the villagers. Mizuki said loudly, "Don't worry, I brought these spiritual beasts back to protect the village. I will build a spirit beast garden and keep them in it." Although these spirit beasts are connected to humans and can understand human speech, they are animals after all and have instincts. It is definitely not acceptable to just throw them around the village. Even if they don't take the initiative to hurt people, there is no guarantee that some naughty children will provoke them and arouse their ferocity. So to be on the safe side, it's better to keep them in the Spirit Beast Garden. In the Spirit Beast Garden, Mizuki can also teach them how to practice. Hearing what Mizuki said, the villagers felt relieved. But they were all a little curious. "Mizuki-sama, what is the Spirit Beast Garden?" "Yeah, I've only heard of the Vegetable Garden, but this is the first time I've heard of the Spiritual Beast Garden." Mizuki smiled and said, "The Spirit Beast Garden is a place dedicated to various spirit beasts. You can also visit it in your free time." The villagers understood immediately. "Okay, let's all disperse. I'll take them to an open place." Mizuki took these spirit beasts to an open space on the west side of the village and used earth style to erect a wall. The main thing is to prevent the big guys among them from running around. Their soul consciousness is just born, and they are curious about everything. Well, when Naoki comes back, let him use wood style to build a spirit beast garden here. Then separate it with fences to separate different areas. These spirit beasts will be trained as the guardian beasts of the village ninja from now on. At this time, the new Great Wall is on the southern border of the Kingdom of Birds and the junction with the Kingdom of Wind. Naoki is fighting several Sand Shinobi village ninjas. Latent Shadow Snake Hand. Naoki reached out with his left hand, and several Lion Majesty came out of his sleeve, biting a Chunin in front of him. Amidst the screams, the other party was poisoned and died. Naoki was Orochimaru's disciple, and he also learned some of Orochimaru's ninjutsu. The Latent Shadow Snake Hand is really useful. At this moment, a SSS sound sounded behind him. Naoki turned his head and saw that it was a poisonous needle. Sand Shinobi Village is good at using poison. Oh, what a small trick. Wood style. Wooden ingot avoidance. The wood burrowed out of the ground, forming a hemispherical shield that blocked all the poisonous needles. I finally built the Great Wall, but you guys come to destroy it. Go to hell. The two Sand Shinobi teams were quickly wiped out by the Naoki team. Sand Shinobi, you are so weak. Chapter 281. Are you kidding me? A 13-year-old kid becomes a Hokage. Fire Nation, Konoha Village, Hokage Office. Can I take the liberty to ask, Orochimaru-sama, who is a good Hokage, why do you suddenly want to abdicate and give up the throne to someone else? Minato asked. In the office, Minato and Naruto were there. In addition to the two of them, there are Nara Shikaku, Mitokado Homura, Uchiha Kaharu, and Orochimaru who Enko turned into using the transformation technique. Upon hearing Minato's question, Orochimaru replied, I used to be a rebel ninja. Ever since I came to power as the 5th Hokage, I have been criticized by the villagers. Although the third generation stated in their will that my defection was a lie and it was to establish Konoha Village's foreign aid, but some people still think I'm not worthy of being a Hokage. In addition, recently, what the third generation did to Naruto and the Uchiha clan became known to the villagers. Everyone's evaluation of the third generation has plummeted, and even me, the 5th Hokage assigned in the third generation's will, has also become unpopular. Extremely bad. Most of the villagers are against me, and it is very urgent to abdicate in favor of someone worthy of my position, so I am anxious to have you come back and continue to manage the village, Minato. Otherwise, if this continues, Konoha will soon be in chaos. You are the hero of Konoha. If you resume your role as Hokage, the villagers will support you. After I abdicate, I will go to Raichi Cave to practice Senjutsu and no longer appear in the sight of the villagers. Minato pretended to listen carefully, but in fact he already knew it. The Orochimaru in front of me is completely fake. Although he also has a snake-like aura about him, the real Orochimaru cannot have so little chakra. Minato didn't reveal it and just said, I came back today not to serve as Hokage. I'm just sending Naruto back to be the Hokage. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. What? Let Naruto be the Hokage, Minato you. Mitokado Homura stood up in shock and looked at Minato with a puzzled expression. Shikaku and Uchiha Kaharu also stared at Minato, thinking that he made a mistake. Orochimaru sat behind the desk and frowned. Let Naruto be the Hokage, this. Minato, is this inappropriate? Yeah, 4th generation, Naruto is the Hokage, this is definitely not going to work. Shikaku said. After all, he is only 13 years old. Hokage needs to handle all kinds of official affairs. Naruto has no experience in this area. Let him come on stage, and Konoha will be in chaos. Mitokado Homura and Uchiha Kaharu also said that Naruto was not good. At the same time, he persuaded Minato to return to Konoha. Yeah, Minato, Naruto definitely can't, at least not for the time being. It won't be too late for him to take office after he has grown up a few years and gained enough experience. It is too early now. It's better if you come back and continue to be the 4th generation project. Minato shook his head. There was no smile on his face, no gentleness and sunshine as usual. I will not come back. The injustice Naruto suffered in Konoha can be forgiven by him as the person involved, but Kushina and I are his parents. We are not qualified to forgive. This incident will forever create a wedge between Konoha village and his husband and wife. Kushina will not return to Konoha, and neither will I. We are all resurrected from the dead. We have sacrificed our lives for Konoha. We no longer owe Konoha anything. From now on, we have to live our own lives. Mitokado Homura immediately said, but Naruto's matters are all decided by the third generation. Minato waved his hand and said, it doesn't matter whether it's the third generation or whoever it is, it doesn't matter. We won't pursue it anymore, but we won't forgive it either. Advertisement. Shikaku and others wanted to say something else, but Minato interrupted them directly. No need to persuade us anymore, we have already decided. Naruto chose to forgive Konoha and accept the villagers' apology, so he is willing to return to Konoha. You have only two choices now, either accept Naruto as the 6th Hokage, or I leave with Naruto. You should know that Naruto is strong enough to serve as Hokage. If you are inexperienced, you can slowly train him. If you are still not satisfied, then we can only break up. Shikaku and the others really have no choice. They looked at each other, unable to decide. Indeed, Naruto was very strong and could compete with the 1st generation before. If it weren't for the 2nd generation, the 1st generation might not be able to defeat Naruto. Now Naruto is stronger. Not even the Great Toad Sage is Naruto's opponent. It has become so strong that ordinary ninjas cannot understand it. With such a strong person serving as Hokage, the safety factor of the village will be greatly improved. But he is only 13 years old. Letting a 13-year-old child serve as Hokage will be laughed at if this spreads to the ninja world. And the families in the village will definitely be dissatisfied. The Sarutobi family and the Shimura family were definitely the first to stand up and oppose. Finally, Shikaku said, can you give us a few days? After all, it is too difficult for a 13-year-old child to be a Hokage. Even if a few of us unify, other people in the village may not agree. We need to survey the public opinion first. If the majority of the villagers agree, then there will be no problem in letting Naruto succeed the 6th Hokage. Minato said with an indifferent expression. Okay, you guys can investigate. Naruto and I are going back to Phoenix Village first. When you have the results of your investigation, you will send someone to the bird country to inform us. After saying that, Minato and Naruto left and flew directly to the Flying Thunder God to fly to Phoenix Village. There are 4 people left in the office. Enko transformed into Orochimaru, sitting behind her desk without saying a word. The next step was a major event that would determine the future of the village, and she was not qualified to participate in the discussion. Mitokado Homura asked. Shikaku, can you tell what they mean? I can understand Minato's unwillingness to come back, but I can't understand why Naruto, a 13-year-old kid, is allowed to be the Hokage. Does he hate Konoha so much that he deliberately let Naruto be the Hokage so that he could mess up the village? Shikaku shook his head. I can't understand their intentions either. But it doesn't matter. The key point we want to discuss now is whether or not we agree with Naruto being the Hokage. Uchiha Kaharu said. Of course I don't agree. Even though a 13-year-old kid is very strong, managing a village cannot be based on strength alone. She added. Since Minato is unwilling to come back, the only way we have left is Uchiha Itachi. Do whatever it takes to get Itachi back to Konoha. Shikaku asked, what if Itachi doesn't come back? Mitokado Homura and Uchiha Kaharu were both silent. After a while, Mitokado Homura asked, Shikaku, do you know what's going on with Jiraiya? Is he really defecting, or is he pretending to defect? Shikaku said, I don't know if it's true or not. Only the 5th generation knows the truth about Lord Jiraiya's defection, but he disappeared too suddenly. But I think it's fake. Advertisement. You all know Jiraiya-sama's character. He quietly defected to Konoha. Do you believe this? Mitokado Homura said. In this case, we will call Jiraiya back as Hokage. Konoha has reached this point. No matter what plans he has to put them down. The village is the most important. Shikaku shook his head. No, Master Jiraiya cannot come back, and there is no way he will come back. He had already guessed the cause and effect, and knew that Jiraiya defected to show Mizuki. Prevent Mizuki from taking revenge on Konoha because of Jiraiya. So he knew that Jiraiya would never return to Konoha. Unless Mizuki makes it clear that no one else will be implicated. It's just that Mizuki is too strong and puts too much pressure on people. Several people discussed it for a long time, and finally Shikaku made the decision. Our focus now is still on Uchiha Itachi and trying to get him back. If it doesn't work, then we can only consider Naruto. When the time comes, we must withstand the pressure no matter what. If necessary, we have to put on a show to enhance Naruto's prestige. A decision must be made within half a month. If it takes longer, something big will happen. The country of fields. The original Sound Ninja village is now the Sennin village. In the airtight underground, in the dark room, Yakushi Kabuto stood in front of the test bench, doing some experiment. Ju chuckled, took out a scroll and placed it on the ground. You actually came here quietly. Your stealth technique is really enviable. In that world of infinite Tsukuyomi, all your regrets will be made up for, and you will have a complete and beautiful life. He turned around and asked, how do I get to that world? Zetsu said. Yakushi Kabuto, are you desperate for this world? Yakushi Kabuto continued to work on what he was doing without even turning his head to look at it. Kabuto suddenly released murderous intent. They all stopped what they were doing and murmured, is there a perfect world without regrets? Infinite Tsukuyomi. Zetsu's body began to sink, and he said slowly, he is Uchiha Madara. He didn't turn around, but on the ground behind him, black-white Zetsu poked his head out of the ground, and then his whole body emerged. He, your perception is so good Naruto, you are worthy of practicing celestial magic and mastering the perfect sage mode. When your adoptive mother Yakushi Nanoyu was killed by your own hands, did you feel that this world was false? It was meaningless. Suddenly he raised his head and his glasses flashed under the light. Impure world reincarnation him and he will tell you all the answers. Yakushi Kabuto frowned and asked, who is he? Just when he was about to take action, Ju said, I have a way to create a perfect world without regrets. If you talk too much, you will die. He just said lightly. Say your identity and your purpose. Chapter 282. Sage of Six Paths, New Plan. Uchiha Madara. Is that Uchiha Madara who was as famous as first Hokage Senju Hashirama and co-founded Konoha village? The snake behind Kabuto turned to the front, rolled up the scroll on the ground, and sent it to his hand. This is a seal scroll. After it is unfolded, a big word, corpse, is written on it. After unsealing the scroll, a piece of rotten meat appeared in front of Kabuto. The strong stench of rotting meat instantly filled the entire room. Kabuto frowned, finding the smell disgusting. Uchiha Madara's body tissue. Such a powerful person will die one day. No wonder Orochimaru-sama wanted to pursue immortality, but it's a pity that he died too. For me, living in this false world, eternal life is just a pain. Kabuto's life is tragic. He was a war orphan since he was a child, and he has no idea of his origins or his name. After being taken in by Konoha orphanage, he finally found himself and the meaning of living. But under Danzo's pressure, he had to become a spy instead of Yakushi Nanoyu and lurk in other countries. Danzo saw that Kabuto was a talented person and wanted to bring him into his roots, so he started to do nothing. Danzo found Yakushi no and lied that Kabuto wanted to join the root. Nanoyu came from the roots and knew clearly that joining the roots meant being wiped out of humanity and turned into a machine that could only obey orders. So she asked Danzo to let Kabuto go. Danzo made a condition: as long as Nanoyu killed someone, the roots would be released. Nanoyu didn't know that the person Danzo wanted her to kill was the real Kabuto. Because Kabuto has been working as a spy outside, Yakushi can only understand Kabuto's growth through photos. But the photo Danzo gave her was of another person. The Kabuto that Nanoyu knew through photos was not the real Kabuto at all. Until one day, Danzo found Nanoyu and told her that she had found the person she wanted to kill. As long as Nanoyu killed him, Yakushi Kabuto would be liberated. Yakushi happily set out with the photo of the person she wanted to kill, but she didn't know that the person in the photo was the real Kabuto. When Nanoyu met Kabuto, he directly attacked Kabuto, but was killed by Kabuto. Kabuto discovered that the person who wanted to kill him was actually his favorite dean. He tried calling, but Nanoyu didn't recognize him at all. He was confused. He couldn't understand why he was forgotten by the most important person. He began to doubt himself, doubt his life, and doubt the whole world. But fortunately, he met Orochimaru and learned from Orochimaru that all of this was designed by Danzo. He regained his direction in life. But now, Orochimaru is dead too. He was lost again. Oh, this meaningless world should be destroyed. He sealed the piece of rotten flesh again and continued to do his own thing. The world of infinite Tsukuyomi without regrets is indeed very attractive. After all, even a being like Orochimaru-sama will die, and even a strong person like Uchiha Madara is just a piece of rotten flesh in the end. But the Pure Land is isolated, and the reanimation jutsu has become a useless decoration. It seems that I am not blessed to endure this world of infinite Tsukuyomi. I can only continue to endure and struggle in this false world. In the air, Sage of Six Paths looked at Tien country below, and saw Yakushi Kabuto directly through the soil. He also clearly saw the entire process of delivering the scroll to Kabuto. The fourth ninja war must begin as soon as possible. But Mizuki is an anomaly. If he interferes, my plan will definitely not succeed. It's best to find a way to transfer him out of the ninja world. And Naruto, he's too powerful. It's best to leave the ninja world together. What method should be used? Sage of Six Paths frowned and thought. Suddenly he thought of Sasuke and Boruto who traveled through time and space in front of him, and his eyes suddenly lit up and he had an idea. If Mizuki and Naruto were allowed to travel through time and space, to the past or future, the fourth ninja world war would not be affected. It doesn't take long, 4 or 5 days is enough. When they come back, everything will be settled. Mom will seal it again and establish a new order in the ninja world. Sage of Six Paths feels that this has great potential. Then he began to seek death, how to make Mizuki and Naruto travel through time and space. Last time, Arashiki and Sasuke traveled through time and space with the help of the Otsutsuki clan's noble phantasm, the plow. Mom once said that only high-ranking Otsutsuki clan members are qualified to use the Otsutsuki clan's noble phantasm, so the plow was definitely not brought by Arashiki to ninja. From the world. So, the plow may have been in the ninja world for a long time, but it is too difficult to find the plow, so we won't consider it for now. Advertisement. He turned his attention to the Kingdom of Wind. In addition to plows, the dragon veins of ancient Lulin in the Kingdom of Wind can also allow people to travel through time and space and return to the past. However, most of the power of the dragon vein is underground, and there is not much overflow. The time for people to travel through time and space is also very short. More energy must be drawn out to extend the time of travel. I can't do it myself, so I can only ask others for help. Mount Myoboku is gone. It seems that we have to go to Raichi Cave to see it. At worst, we will have to pay some price. Sage of Six Paths has plans soon and plans to implement them sooner. He immediately went to Raichi Cave and found White Snake Sennin. In the temple deep in Raichi Cave, White Snake Sage was smoking leisurely when the figure of Sage of Six Paths appeared in front and quickly solidified. The White Snake Immortal narrowed his eyes when he saw Sage of Six Paths. Isn't this the Sage of Six Paths? What brought you to my Raichi Cave? Sage of Six Paths smiled and said, why, aren't I welcome? White Snake Immortal. I don't dare, I'm just curious. Haven't you been hanging out with those ugly toads? Why did you suddenly come to me? Oh yeah, Mount Myoboku is gone, so you can't find the toad. The White Snake Immortal didn't give Sage of Six Paths any face and started taunting him directly. I don't know if it's a grudge or what. Sage of Six Paths did not argue with it, but said, Mount Myoboku was destroyed, do you know who did it? White Snake Sage. I know, that human Mizuki. Let me tell you, those toads deserve it. Who let them offend people they shouldn't offend? Don't learn too much from me, Raichi Cave, otherwise disaster will befall you. Sage of Six Paths smiled and said, aren't you afraid that it will be Raichi Cave's turn next? The White Snake Immortal puffed out a puff of smoke, directly covering Sage of Six Paths. What am I afraid of? That Mizuki has been to Raichi Cave once before and dealt with our snake clan. I can see that he is a reasonable person. As long as I don't offend him, he won't attack Raichi Cave without any reason. Sage of Six Paths smiled and said, can you guarantee it 100%? Immortal White Snake said angrily, what on earth do you want to say? Are you always here to scare me? Do you think I'm scared? Sage of Six Paths, I just remind you to prepare in advance and don't put your future on other people's reasoning. What can you do if they are reasonable now but not in the future? When the time comes, Mount Myoboku will serve as a warning. The White Snake Immortal snorted coldly and stopped talking. It stared at Sage of Six Paths, and it didn't look like a good person. It came to scaremonger people for no reason, and it was obviously ill-intentioned. Tell me, why did you come to me? Sage of Six Paths said. I want you to kill Mizuki. The White Snake Immortal exploded. Get out of here. It yelled angrily and drove people away. But Sage of Six Paths doesn't go. He is a soul body, he doesn't want to leave, and Immortal White Snake can't do anything to him. You clearly want to harm my Raichi Cave Snake clan. Mizuki is so strong, and you ask me to kill him, do you think I'm a god? That day, Mizuki stormed the Mount Myoboku barrier. The movement was so loud that Raichi Cave could clearly sense it. The White Snake Immortal cast the spell and observed the whole process. When he saw Susanoo, who was 5,000 meters high, he almost shed his skin in fear. Now Sage of Six Paths comes and asks it to kill Mizuki, and it explodes immediately. What are you going to kill yourself with? Tell a joke to make him laugh to death. You hurry up and leave. Don't stay here any longer. I won't tell anyone about this, so you can take care of it yourself. The White Snake Immortal wished that Sage of Six Paths would disappear immediately. Kill Mizuki. If this word gets out and Mizuki knows about it, and then he explains to himself and Mizuki doesn't listen, Raichi Cave will never be finished. I haven't lived enough yet. Sage of Six Paths smiled and said, don't be afraid. Mizuki is so strong now. Of course you are no match for him. Even everyone in the ninja world combined cannot beat him. But just because Mizuki is strong now, doesn't mean he was strong as a child. Are you right what I said? Immortal White Snake frowned and asked, what do you mean by this? What does it mean now or in childhood? Sage of Six Paths. You have lived for thousands of years, don't you know that the dragon veins of the ancient Lulin in the Kingdom of Wind can allow people to travel through time and space and go back to the past? The White Snake Immortal understood immediately. It stared at Sage of Six Paths and said, this move of yours is really vicious. Go back in time and kill the young Mizuki. If the young Mizuki dies, the current Mizuki will naturally die as well. Originally, Sage of Six Paths just wanted to lure Mizuki out of this time and space so that the Fourth Ninja War could proceed normally. But just now, he thought that he could use this method to kill Mizuki. Advertisement. Although he had no grievances with Mizuki and knew that Mizuki would not wantonly destroy the ninja world, Mizuki was a variable. If it can be killed, of course it is better to kill. With fewer variables, the future of the ninja world can be back under his control, and there is no need to worry about it every day. White Snake Sage asked, aren't you afraid that after killing the young Mizuki, the entire time and space will be affected? Mizuki is not an ordinary person after all. The moment he dies as a child, everything related to him will change. If it's serious, the entire ninja world will collapse. Sage of Six Paths certainly takes this into consideration. Once Mizuki dies as a child, many things that happen later will change. If Naruto defects, Phoenix Village will not be established, the tailed beast will not appear in Phoenix Village, and Mount Myoboku will not be destroyed. Everything will be back on track. However, the time and space power consumed by such a huge time and space correction will be terrifying. By then, violent fluctuations in space and time will cause unimaginable damage. The ninja world will definitely not be able to bear this. I am afraid that it will be directly swallowed and annihilated by the power of time and space, turning into nothingness. What are you in a hurry for? Did I say I was going to kill baby Mizuki? Sage of Six Paths looked at the White Snake Immortal with a smile. White Snake Sage frowned and said, then what do you mean? If you don't kill the young Mizuki, how can you kill him? Sage of Six Paths said, it's very interesting to see him travel back through the dragon veins, find the young Mizuki, and quietly set a trick on his soul. This way, the young Mizuki will not die, and time and space will not be affected in any way. When you come back from the past, activate the means set on Mizuki and destroy his soul. He will die. Raichi Cave has been passed down for a long time, so there should be no shortage of such methods, right? The White Snake Immortal's eyes widened and he took a breath of air. Hiss. It looked at Sage of Six Paths, shocked by the plan. How vicious. However, despite the plan, it still frowned and felt that it was not feasible. I do know that Lulin's dragon vein contains the power of time, which can allow people to travel through time and space and return to the past. However, the time power of dragon vein is not strong, only 3 or 4 hours at most. It's almost impossible to control a baby Mizuki this way. As far as I know, Mizuki lived in Konoha village in the land of fire when he was a child. People who traveled through the dragon vein will appear in Lulin, and even the fastest ninja would take most of a day to get from Lulin to Konoha village. Time. In 3 or 4 hours, we won't be able to reach Konoha at all. Before we reach the halfway point, our strength will be reduced and we will have to travel back again. So your plan is simply impossible to succeed. Unless Mizuki is near Lulin when the shuttle is completed, but this possibility does not exist. Sage of Six Paths said. What's so difficult about this? If you unlock more Dragon Vein power, you can extend the travel time. Immortal White Snake said in shock. Are you crazy? Can the power of the Dragon Vein be unsealed at will? That power is used to suppress the God of Wind. After it is unsealed, if the God of Wind escapes from suppression, we will all be dead. No, not only are we going to die, the entire universe is going to die. The last time Mizuki attacked the Mount Myoboku barrier, I was scared to death, for fear that he would destroy the barrier. If you hadn't appeared to dissuade him at that time, I would have intervened. The horror of the ancient gods is beyond your imagination, so you must not do this. Sage of Six Paths frowned. Only then did he realize that this dragon vein was actually used to suppress the gods. As a result, things become troublesome. But then, he thought of something and said, I remember that on the second day of February every year, the power of the dragon vein will increase. The suppression force will be the strongest on that day. It should be okay if we unblock some of the force on that day, right? White Snake Sage frowned and said, do you really have to kill Mizuki? Sage of Six Paths. It's not necessary to kill him, but in order to prevent him from losing control in the future, it would be good to put a method in his soul to prevent it, right? The White Snake Immortal could not refute. It makes sense when you think about it. Mizuki is too strong. Although it is harmless now, it cannot guarantee the future. Set a trick for him, what if it comes in handy? Finally it nodded slowly. In that case, then do as you say. It's the end of the year now, and the second day of February is almost here. In less than 2 months, I will send someone there by then. Chapter 283. Angry White Snake Immortal. Seeing that the White Snake Immortal agreed, Sage of Six Paths smiled. You made a wise decision. He changed the topic and said, but this matter is too important to let the news leak even half a cent, let alone go back on it. You have to swear an oath that you won't leak it or go back on it. Immortal White Snake frowned. It's not necessary, I have already agreed. And such things as oaths have no binding force on me. Sage of Six Paths. No, it's necessary. Every year, only the second day of February is the day when the dragon's power breaks out. If you miss that day, you have to wait another year. If we miss this time, if something unexpected happens and Mizuki suddenly wants to destroy the ninja world, we will be helpless. I am a dead person, so it doesn't matter. But you don't want to see the Raichi cave you worked so hard to manage be destroyed. The White Snake Immortal exhaled a puff of smoke. He felt that what Sage of Six Paths said made sense. Logically speaking, it would definitely not agree to such a strange request. But by some strange coincidence, it actually nodded again. Okay then, I swear. It began to swear. On the second day of February next year, I will definitely send my men to Lulin, go back to the past through the dragon vein, and plant an immortal talisman on the young Mizuki that can control his life and death. If I violate this oath, I will make no progress in my cultivation. Sage of Six Paths had a subtle smile on his face. Your decision is wise. I'm leaving and I'll wait for your good news then. Sage of Six Paths after finishing things, I didn't stay much at all and just left. But after he left Raichi Cave, a look of physical pain immediately appeared on his face. Hey, today's loss is huge. The soul power consumed will take at least 100 years to recover through hard work. Fortunately, it's done. If the variable Mizuki can be controlled, the price will be worth it. The Otsutsuki are far away, and according to Gamamaru's prophecy, the Otsutsuki who will reach the ninja world in the next 1,000 years are not particularly strong, and they are within the tolerance range. Only Mizuki is different. His strength has improved too quickly, and his origin is unknown. His attitude towards the ninja world is uncertain. So, even if he doesn't seem to be doing anything radical towards the ninja world now, we can't think that he is completely harmless. The idea behind Sage of Six Paths is simple. It's not about whether you can do it or not, but whether you have the ability to do it. Having the ability to destroy the ninja world is a threat. At this moment, Sage of Six Paths heard a roar coming from Raichi Cave. Damn Otsutsuki Hagoromo, you dare to trick me, Otsutsuki deserves to die. He sighed and said, don't blame me, I had no choice but to do it. Mount Myoboku was destroyed, and the remaining young toads were embarrassed. Katsuyu Sage in the Shigabone Forest doesn't even have any subordinates, so it's useless to look for it. I have no choice but to come to Raichi Cave to find you. Raichi Cave is full of talented people, so this matter can definitely be accomplished. Advertisement. Deep in Raichi Cave, White Snake Sage was extremely angry. After Sage of Six Paths left, his brain suddenly became clear and he immediately realized that he had been tricked by Sage of Six Paths and his will was affected. Just like distinguished heavenly gods. Although this effect is only temporary, it is undoubtedly a great shame for Sage of Six Paths to do this to the White Snake Immortal. He, a majestic ancestor of the Snake clan, was actually controlled by someone and made such a stupid decision. If this was spread, he would be humiliated in outer space. Damn Otsutsuki brat. Then Mizuki is a monster, can he be messed with? As long as you do this well, if there is any oversight, my Raichi Cave will be lost. You were looking for someone to plot against him. Why did you come to me instead of someone else? Are you plotting against him or me? It is angry in its heart. Sage of Six Paths said it would deal with Mizuki, which of course refused. That monster Mizuki can even break the barrier of Mount Myoboku. Is it possible to provoke him? But unknowingly, it changed its position, and by some strange combination of circumstances, it agreed to Sage of Six Paths' request. This is not its intention. But now I have agreed and even sworn an oath. Although the oath is very restrictive, the White Snake Immortal has no intention of going back on it. The oath is not binding, and there is no god in the world to punish those who violate the oath. But for a being in the realm of White Snake Immortal, you must do what you have sworn. It doesn't matter whether you do it or not, the key is that you have to do it. The oath comes from its mouth. If you avoid it deliberately, you will remember it in your heart. At the critical moment of cultivation, this matter will most likely come to mind, affecting the state of cultivation and causing serious consequences. Unless the White Snake Immortal reaches the Buddhist state of selflessness and cultivates his mind to the point where he doesn't care about anything. But this is obviously impossible. This is why the Sage of Six Paths must be sworn by the White Snake Immortal. The White Snake Immortal has finally boarded the pirate ship of Sage of Six Paths. Hateful. Just wait for me, we can't just let this matter go. The White Snake Immortal couldn't swallow this breath. If you dare to play tricks on me, then don't blame me for being rude to you. If you rely on yourself to control the Pure Land and practice with the soul power of the dead in the Pure Land, then I will make it impossible for you to practice. The White Snake Immortal had a gloomy face and summoned Tien Shin-Shenji in front of him. Kamiki, Speed General Yakushi Kabuto summoning, come to see me. Tien Shin-Shenji respectfully responded, and then performed the reverse summoning technique. Advertisement. With a bang and white smoke, Yakushi Kabuto appeared here. Yakushi Kabuto was still a little confused when he was suddenly summoned. When he saw his surroundings clearly, he immediately greeted him respectfully. White Snake Immortal, Lord Tien Shin-Shenji, why do you want to see me? White Snake Sage asked condescendingly. Yakushi Kabuto, I remember that you learned the Impure World Reincarnation technique from Orochimaru. Did Orochimaru teach it to you? Yakushi Kabuto quickly thought about why White Snake Sennin asked this. No wonder he was suspicious. White Zetsu gave him a piece of Uchiha Madara's rotten meat to Impure World Reincarnation, and now White Snake Sage came to ask again. Could it be that White Snake Sage also approves of the opening of the world of infinite Tsukuyomi? When Orochimaru-sama used the reanimation jutsu, I watched from the sidelines. I have mastered how to use the jutsu. Immortal White Snake nodded and said, well, that's good. I'll give you a task next. Digging up corpses everywhere, especially the corpses of masters, and then using Impure World Reincarnation to summon them all into the mortal world. All in all, we cannot let their souls continue to stay in the Pure Land. The plan of the White Snake Immortal is very simple. The more people there are in Impure World Reincarnation, the fewer souls there are in the Pure Land, and the slower the Sage of Six Paths cultivation will be. This is its revenge plan. Although Impure World Reincarnation requires living sacrifices, every time a soul is summoned from the Pure Land, a new soul will be sent down. But it doesn't matter. The souls of ordinary people do not contain much soul energy, and are not very helpful in the cultivation of Sage of Six Paths. White Snake Sage said calmly. I know, that is the seal set by that damn guy Otsutsuki Hagoromo to prevent Mizuki from resurrecting the dead. You must search all the tombs in the 5 major ninja villages. Don't miss the ancestral graves of each family. White Snake Sage turned to Tianxin Shenji and said, Shenji, you also follow him out of Raichi Cave and help him collect the bodies of the masters. There is no need for those who are more than 100 years old. If they have been dead for more than 100 years, their soul energy has long been absorbed by the Sage of Six Paths. You have to be at least a Jonin level master to be useful. Don't worry about this. Just make preparations first and then come to me. Okay. Go ahead and finish it as soon as possible. When the time comes, I will take action to temporarily lift the seal of the Pure Land and help you cast Impure World Reincarnation. Yakushi Kabuto and Tianxin Shenji left, leaving only the White Snake Immortal in the temple, swallowing clouds and spitting mist. Yakushi Kabuto doesn't understand why White Snake Sennin issued such a mission. Does he want to start a war with the help of Impure World Reincarnation? Later, I will let Yakushi Kabuto pass on the reanimation jutsu, and pass it on from generation to generation. I want all the masters who have died in the past 100 years to be reincarnated into the mortal world by the Impure World. From now on, you will not make any progress in your cultivation. Otsutsuki Hagoromo, just wait. The Pure Land seems to be sealed, and the soul of the Pure Land can no longer be summoned to the mortal world. If you dare to plot against me, be prepared to cry. As long as a master dies in the ninja world, I will have his soul summoned to the world, so that you will no longer have a source of soul energy. White Snake Immortal, I am sorry that I cannot complete this task. Chapter 284. Grandma Chio's Decision. The Land of Wind, Sand Shinobi Village. In the conference room, the daimyo of the Kingdom of Wind had a gloomy face. You bunch of losers, I asked you to send people to destroy the Great Wall of the Kingdom of Birds. You can't even do this little thing, so what use are you? I spend so much money every year to support you, and this is how you serve me. The Sand Shinobi sent to destroy the Great Wall were no match for Naoki. There were 8 ninjas in the 2 teams, 6 Chunin died, and only 2 Jonin escaped. The destroyed Great Wall was also repaired by Naoki. I don't care, you must destroy the Great Wall at all costs. Otherwise, how can our warriors from the Kingdom of Wind invade the Kingdom of Birds? Granny Chio apologized and said, Your Majesty, please atone for your sins. We will immediately send stronger ninjas to destroy the Great Wall. The Great Wall must be destroyed this time, so that our army of warriors can advance straight in and conquer the Bird Kingdom in one fell swoop. The daimyo nodded, the anger on his face a little lighter. In that case, I will wait for your good news. But. When Chio heard the word, but, his heart thumped and he had a bad feeling. Sure enough, the next moment she heard the daimyo say, This time we did not destroy the Great Wall in time, which prevented the 50,000 warriors from attacking. The delay was not a big deal, but it cost countless amounts of food, grass and fresh water. The daily consumption of an army of 50,000 is an astronomical amount. This is all money. The daimyo's sinister voice made the Sand Shinobi executives in the conference room frown. This is all your fault. So the responsibility should be borne by you, Sand Shinobi Village. Finance officer, let's do the math. The expressions of Sand Shinobi's senior management instantly became extremely ugly. They were still curious when the daimyo came to Sand Shinobi Village and wanted to bring the financial officer with him. They thought he was here to get a raise. Who knew, he was here to settle accounts. The financial officer did some calculations and the results came out quickly. Lord Daimyo, the 50,000 strong army consumes about 50 million taels of food, grass, fresh water and other supplies every day. Because the ninjas sent by Sand Shinobi Village failed to destroy the Great Wall of Bird Country in time, the army was delayed for at least 10 days. In total, it cost at least 500 million taels more. Chio couldn't sit still anymore, stood up and said loudly, This is impossible. On average, one person consumes 1,000 taels a day. This is absolutely impossible. When ninjas go to war, they consume less than 100 taels a day. She pointed at the treasurer and said, You must have miscalculated. The financial officer smiled and said, Grandma Chiandai, don't worry, it's not more than 1,000 taels per person. This is a conservative estimate. Warriors are not like you ninjas. They don't have chakra. They rely solely on physical strength to move. In addition, they wear thick armor, so they eat a lot, and they have to eat well to ensure their physical strength and combat effectiveness. They don't know the body flicker technique, and they don't travel fast. They will be very tired from long walks in the desert, and their legs are easily injured. They need to consume medicinal herbs every day to soak their feet to relieve fatigue. The heat in the desert is extremely hot. Warriors often suffer from heatstroke, which consumes more medicinal materials. Taking it all together, 1,000 taels per person per day is really not much. Chio wanted to say something else, but the daimyo said directly, Granny Chio, you don't think that my financial officer deliberately miscalculated the accounts, do you? Chio snorted coldly and sat down. Upon seeing this, the daimyo sneered in his heart and said, The account has been settled, 500 million taels. This was all caused by Sand Shinobi Village's mistakes, and Sand Shinobi Village should also bear the responsibility. Advertisement. As soon as these words came out, Sand Shinobi executives present immediately objected. No, this is absolutely not possible. Lord Daimyo, Sand Shinobi Village's economy is already in straits, and we simply cannot afford 500 million taels. 500 million taels is too much, let's have less. Everyone was praying for the name, but Grandma Chio sat there without saying a word, leaning on the back of her chair and closing her eyes. Ebizo on the side turned to look at his sister, seeming to realize something. The daimyo didn't care about everyone's prayers and said, The country of wind is located in a desert and its economy is already backward. My daimyo's money does not come from strong winds. I will not pay for your mistakes. I have made up my mind, there is no need to say more about this matter. Everyone was desperate. 500 million taels, if you take it out, how can you live in Sand Shinobi Village? At this time, the daimyo said, Of course, I am not a heartless person. Let Sand Shinobi Village spend 500 million taels at once. This is really embarrassing for you. Let's do this. As soon as these words came out, hope immediately rose in everyone's eyes. The daimyo thought for a moment, then turned to the financial officer and asked, What is the annual funding of Sand Shinobi Village now? The financial officer said, Returning to the daimyo-sama, Sand Shinobi Village's annual funding is 120 million taels. The daimyo nodded and said to the senior management of Sand Shinobi, In this way, you will not be allowed to take out the money, but I will not repay the 500 million taels. In the next 5 years, I will only give you 20 million taels of the annual funding of 120 million taels. The remaining 100 million taels should be regarded as compensation for the loss of 500 million taels. 5 years later, the funding will return to normal 120 million taels. Sand Shinobi executives looked at each other. 5 years, only 20 million taels a year. Send beggars away. In the underground money exchange, the bounty for any S-class trader can reach 20 million taels. Lord Daimyo, this is out of season. With 20 million taels a year, how can Sand Shinobi Village develop? We can't even afford food. Daimyo-sama, you can't do this. If this continues, Sand Shinobi Village will completely decline and even fall out of the top 5 Shinobi villages. Sand Shinobi Village is an important foundation for ensuring national security. If it declines, once other countries attack, the Kingdom of Wind will be at risk of annihilation. The senior officials of the village were completely panicked. If the annual funding is really only 20 million taels, then Sand Shinobi Village will be completely destroyed. Compared to everyone's panic, Shio still closed his eyes and showed no reaction. No matter what these people said, the daimyo would not change his mind, until finally the daimyo got tired and simply got up and left. There was a lot of noise in the conference room. Everyone is blaming each other and shirking responsibility. I blame you and you blame me. It's a mess. Enough. Shio's scolding sounded, and everyone immediately fell silent, and all turned to look at her. Shio sat on a chair and scanned everyone. The people she scanned all lowered their heads. Advertisement. At this time, Shio did not look like the kind old woman she once was, with a majestic look in her eyes. Shio glanced around and said calmly, Sand Shinobi Village was founded by my husband Lidu and me. The purpose of building Sand Shinobi Village is to imitate Konoha Village. Each family joins a group to stay warm and strengthen, in order to gain a foothold in the ninja world. Sand Shinobi Village was built in the Kingdom of Wind, and its leader was called Kakashi. However, when the village was first founded, the relationship between the village and the Kingdom of Wind was cooperation. Sand Shinobi Village provides force to protect the security of the Kingdom of Wind, and the Kingdom of Wind provides funds to ensure the development of Sand Shinobi Village. Both are mutually beneficial and win-win cooperation. Everyone listened quietly to Chio, no one dared to interrupt. Chio glanced at everyone again, then slammed the table and shouted, but look at what the village is like now. We have a cooperative relationship with the Kingdom of Wind, not a subordinate, nor a master and servant. The way you were begging for mercy in front of the daimyo just now was really ugly. Everyone's faces turned ugly. There's no need to say it so harshly. Wagging our tails and begging for mercy, we are not dogs. Chio continued. You have to remember that we, Sand Shinobi Village, and the daimyo of the Land of Wind, are just a cooperative relationship. If the daimyo pays, we will contribute. And now, the daimyo can't pay, so what do you think we should do? Everyone was silent. It took a while before someone said, if the famous person doesn't contribute money, we won't contribute, but. Chio sneered. But what? But in this way, we will offend the daimyo, and we won't even be able to get 20 million taels per year, right? The man shut up in embarrassment. 20 million taels a year, what can it be used for? Now I have decided to change the rules in the future. I will no longer accept financial support from the daimyo of the Kingdom of Wind. At the same time, I will no longer provide any free military support to the daimyo of the Kingdom of Wind. If the daimyo needs ninja, then spend the money. Send out one genin, and each person will be tasked with 5,000 taels of gold per day. Send out one chunin, and each person will be tasked with 50,000 taels of gold per day. Send out one jonin, each with a mission of 500,000 taels per day. This is the most basic fee. In addition, it also depends on the task level. The higher the level, the higher the task gold. Having said this, Chio was quiet for half a minute and then stood up. Who among everyone here objects to my opinion? In fact, everyone is against it. The daimyo's need for ninjas is actually not great. Ninjas will only be used when war breaks out. After all, in the ninja world, the daimyo's status is very noble, and few people would assassinate the daimyo. It is enough to have warriors to protect the safety of the daimyo. So regardless of the high mission gold mentioned by Chio, this money is definitely difficult to earn. But opposition is opposition, and Chio is so aggressive that no one dares to say anything against it now. Well, since there is no objection, then this matter has been decided. After discussing the details, we will directly inform the Daming Mansion. Now some people couldn't sit still. Grandma Chio, this won't work. Unless a war breaks out, the daimyo will never spend money to use us. Chio chuckled and said, hasn't the war already broken out? Chapter 285. Deal with watermelon, physical strengthening potion. The country of birds, Phoenix Village. Since the ninja school started, the village has become more and more lively. Mizuki was walking on the street, and there was a lot of excitement behind him. When he turned around, he saw a group of people walking towards him menacingly. The leader is Tsunade. She walked with long strides, the 2 mountains on her chest were very oppressive, but no one dared to look directly at the men on the street. Afraid of being beaten, that fist could easily send someone to the hospital, where they would lie in the ward for 3 months without being able to get out of bed. Behind Tsunade, besides Shizune, there were several vicious guys. Each of them was pushing a cart, which contained gambling games. Cards, dice, etc. Tsunade, the casino is closed. Are you going to have a wild game outside? Tsunade has a black line on her head. Are you polite to say this in front of an old woman in her 50s? If it weren't for the fact that she couldn't beat him, she would have taken action directly. No, I go to school and these things are classroom supplies. This class teaches students about gambling. There is a serious shortage of teachers in the ninja school, so Mizuki has no choice but to call on everyone to actively participate. No need to discipline anything. Therefore, Tsunade taught gambling, Minato taught cooking, Zabuza taught swimming, and Goka 8-Gate were not designed to let the students learn anything, but just to give them more time to relax in the boring study life. As for the ninjutsu classes, Kakashi is still in charge. Mizuki said hurriedly. Oh, don't bother me. Go quickly, the class bell has already rang. Tsunade and others hurried towards the school. Shizune deliberately fell a few steps behind, stood next to Mizuki, and asked in a low voice, Mizuki-sama, is this really okay? Mizuki smiled and said, what's wrong? Gambling can also exercise the brain. Ninja training and fighting require brains. Shizune. That's not what I meant. What I meant is it really okay to let Tsunade-sama teach gambling? After all, Tsunade-sama is well known in the ninja world for her gambling skills. At this time, Tsunade turned around and shouted, Shizune, what are you still dawdling about? Come follow me quickly. HMPH, don't think that I don't know what you are talking about. I just have bad luck and my gambling skills are not bad at all. Shizune glanced at Mizuki helplessly and followed him. The village is thriving, and Mizuki is quite satisfied. At first, Mizuki created the village just to have a place to stay, but now, he will use this village as the center to realize his ambition to unify the ninja world. Leaving the downtown area, Mizuki found Naruto and gave him a glass of hero water. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Host grants disciple Uzumaki Naruto a cup of hero water, triggering a 5000x return. Close black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, you have obtained the enhanced version of heroic water. Close black lens bracket. Enhanced version of heroic water. Drink 1 cup and the chakra capacity will be permanently increased, with a minimum increase of 15 times and a maximum of 100 times. The more original chakra, the smaller the improvement. Close black lens bracket. Tip. No side effects. Close black lens bracket. Note. It is invalid after using host. Close black lens bracket. Is it the enhanced version? This should be enough. This enhanced version of Nobita's water is prepared for Nobita. Although Nobita has eaten chakra noodles several times and the amount of chakra has been increased, if he wants to become a Jinchuriki, the amount of chakra is still not enough. Taking the water of heroes, Mizuki went to find Nobita. A training ground south of the village. Nobita is doing physical training here, and Zigwa is a sparring partner. While fighting, Zigwa is guiding. Mizuki stood watching from a distance for a while and found that Nobita's physical skills had improved greatly. Any movement is faster than before. He was cool and calm when making moves, and his punches and kicks seemed random, but they were all just right. No matter what method Zigwa uses to attack, Nobita can respond flexibly. Although his reaction and speed cannot keep up with Zigwa, it is already very good to be able to do so. Mizuki was very surprised. It's been a while, Nobita's physical skills have improved rapidly. Last time at the lake, Nobita's taijutsu was no worse than the average taijutsu type Chunin. Before the Chunin exam, Shaoli didn't open 8 inner gates, but he only opened 50 or 50 with Nobita at most. But looking back today, Nobita's physical skills have improved greatly. Whether it is strength, reaction, or speed, he is completely different from before. With taijutsu alone, he could serve as a special jonin. Is it true that Nobita's physical skills are very good? Among all his disciples, Nobita's qualifications were the worst, only C level. When he was in Konoha Orphanage, he was not even qualified to enter the ninja school. If it weren't for Mizuki's support, he would never be able to become a ninja in his life. But this disciple with stupid qualifications is now showing his strengths. Mizuki looked at it for a while and kept nodding. Advertisement. When one person and one cat stopped to rest, Mizuki walked over. Nobita, your physical skills have improved a lot. Mizuki praised with a smile. Nobita scratched his head and said, thanks to Watermelon. Mizuki smiled and said, thanks to Zigwa, I, the master, have neglected my duties a bit in terms of cultivation. He took out the glass of heroic water and said, drink this, it will increase the amount of chakra. Nobita took it and drank it directly without any doubts. Immediately afterwards, the chakra in his body began to increase, a powerful aura emanated from his body, and the chakra spilled out of his body uncontrollably. This made the watermelons on the side widen their eyes. How many times is this increase? Mizuki said. The less chakra people drink this potion, the higher the increase multiplier will be. It can reach up to 100 times. Zigwa couldn't help but ask. Is this a permanent increase, or is it temporary? Mizuki. Of course it's permanent, what's the use of being temporary? Zigwa opened her mouth wide, not knowing what to say for a while. The chakra in Nobita's body continues to increase. When the increase reaches 80 times, the effect of the Nobita's water ends. At this time, Nobita was obviously different from before. The strong chakra fluctuations made his whole body soaring, and a large amount of blue chakra overflowed from his body, forming a blue halo on his body. This is a sign of excessive chakra and loss of control. Thank you, master. Mizuki nodded with a smile and said, hurry up and meditate and control the chakra, otherwise you will be watched by everyone when you walk in the village like this. Nobita immediately sat on the ground, closed his eyes and concentrated on controlling chakra. At this time, Zigwa suddenly asked, Mizuki, do you still have this potion that increases chakra? Mizuki said, yes, there is, but it's very precious. Why, do you want it? Zigwa nodded and said, of course I want this kind of thing. We, the extraordinary ninja cat clan, mainly rely on physical skills to fight, and our chakra capacity is naturally low. But if you are extremely talented and have enough chakra in your body, you can still use ninjutsu. Compared to head-to-head confrontation with taijutsu, the lethality, damage range and safety factor of ninjutsu combat are obviously higher. I am not born with much chakra, so I can only do taijutsu. But if I drink this potion and the amount of chakra increases greatly, I can do ninjutsu. Having both a ninja body and a rest, he has a bright future and is qualified to become a duke or even a prince. Mizuki said. I still have the potion, but it is very precious. You can do it if you want, but you have to exchange it for something. Then he added. I don't like ordinary things, I need good things. For example, Meow Star's secret technique of physical skills inheritance, such as something similar to stalactites. Mizuki certainly won't give it away for free. Every serving of heroic water, whether it is an inferior version or an enhanced version, can increase the amount of chakra. If you sell a piece of it for money, it will definitely be worth dozens or hundreds of times more than a summa. These heroic waters were all obtained in exchange for giving them to his apprentices. That bottle of heroic water should be used less and the quantity is limited. So very precious. Zigwa nodded and said. This is what it should be. I don't have the shame to ask for such a precious thing in vain. I'll think about what I should exchange it for. It lowered its head in thought, with occasional struggles flashing across its face. There seemed to be something that he was reluctant to take out. Mizuki is not in a hurry, let him think about it slowly, he doesn't care anyway. It's best if you can get something good in exchange. If you can't exchange it, don't force it. You don't lack anything in the first place. The chakra around Nobita gradually faded away, and he gradually gained control. Watermelon also seems to have thought about it. Mizuki, I have already thought of something to exchange with you, but before that, let's have a taijutsu showdown. When the fight is over, you will know that what I am going to give you in exchange is very precious. Mizuki was confused. Just change things. What does it mean to fight first? But he agreed. Then come on. The two of them arrived at the open space on one side and did not disturb Nobita. The next moment, Watermelon took action. It jumped towards Mizuki at an extremely fast speed. It left its afterimage in the same place. With a flash of figure, Zigwa arrived in front of Mizuki, slapped Mizuki on the left shoulder, and at the same time, his tail swept towards Mizuki's waist like a steel whip. Mizuki was surprised. When summoning came out with Zigwa, the two had a taijutsu duel. At that time, Mizuki was no match for Zigwa in taijutsu and relied on illusion to win. Later, Mizuki's right eye evolved into a golden Rinnegan, and his strength, speed, and reflexes were increased 1,000 times, and he was able to steadily overpower Watermelon in physical skills. But today, Zigwa's performance was completely beyond Mizuki's expectations. Mizuki guessed that Watermelon had become stronger, but he was surprised that he had become so strong. Advertisement. He made a rough estimate and found that Zigwa's speed and reaction were at least 3 or 4 times higher than before. It's completely unreasonable to make such a huge progress in such a short period of time. Of course, although Zigwa has improved, it is still not enough for Mizuki. Facing the attack, Mizuki easily avoided it while counter-attacking at will. In his eyes, Zigwa's moves were still in slow motion, and such attacks were meaningless to him. The attack failed, and Watermelon's eyes became stunned. It looked at Mizuki blankly and asked, "Why have you made such great progress again?" The Watermelon is a little numb. The first time I met Mizuki, he could easily defeat him with taijutsu. In the second battle, it was no match for Mizuki. I thought that after being strengthened twice, I would be able to defeat Mizuki this time, but I didn't expect that I was still no match. Mizuki smiled. Do you think you are the only one who can become stronger? Zigwa looked lonely and said, you have made greater progress than me. It seems that you definitely don't like my things. Forget it, I can't bear the chakra potion anymore. Mizuki said, your stuff should be related to physical enhancement. I really don't need it. Compared with the increase in strength caused by the fruit of the sacred tree, Mizuki does look down on other things. Even if the heroic water is returned 10,000 times, and the super powerful heroic water can increase chakra 10,000 times, Mizuki does not need it. His current amount of chakra can no longer be enhanced by this kind of thing. However, although I don't need it, the people in the village do. Tell me what it is, and I'll decide whether to exchange it. Zigwa said. What I can come up with is the formula of a physical strengthening potion. The prepared physical strengthening potion can double the physical energy every time it is used, and can be used infinitely. Infinite superposition? Mizuki asked in surprise. Zigwa nodded. Not bad. In terms of basic physical strength, the first time you use it, it will increase to 2 times, the second time you use it, it will increase 4 times, the third time you will use it, it will increase 8 times, and the fourth time you will use it 16 times. I have used it twice, so my physical fitness has increased 4 times, including strength, speed, reaction, endurance, all 4 times. This is an exponential explosion of improvement. If you upgrade to the back, it will be an astronomical figure. Mizuki said hurriedly. Okay, I want this. Zigwa said. Don't worry, I will tell you the shortcomings first, and you can make a decision before it's too late. It said. The raw material of the physical fitness enhancement potion is stalactite. The first use requires 100 drops of stalactite to prepare, the second use requires 200 drops, the third time 400 drops, and so on. So although the improvement effect is very strong, the consumption will also increase exponentially. Only my watermelon island in the entire Meow planet can produce stalactites, and there are only a pitiful 11 drops per year, so no one will use stalactites to prepare potions for improving physical fitness, not even the Meow King. You can copy it at a ratio of 1 to 20. I just got more than 300 drops, prepared 2 potions, and improved my physical fitness twice. Mizuki remained calm but was overjoyed. 1 to 20, I just lied to you. He still has more than 10,000 drops of stalactites in his hand, all of which were returned by the system. The key is that there are still 31 drops of stalactite, which are the original ones given by Watermelon. These 31 drops are given to the apprentice. Even if the average return is 1,000 times, it will still be more than 30,000. I don't need it myself, but it can be used to train ninjas in the village, including the students in the school. To strengthen a single person, you need 100 drops of stalactite. Just the 10,000 drops in your hand can strengthen 100 people. In this way, the grassroots strength of Phoenix Village will be rapidly improved. He can't conquer the world alone. He hurriedly said to Zigwa. Okay, you give me the formula, and I will exchange it with you for the chakra potion. How about increasing your chakra by at least 100 times? It was night time here. Mizuki said. Since I said it, it will be at least 100 times. You will never suffer a loss. It's really boring to come all the way to this remote place. The watermelon happily took it and drank it directly. But his height is 5 meters. Of course, Zigwa agreed and immediately gave his admiration to Mizuki. Zigwa said in surprise, really 100 times. Mizuki originally wanted to give Nobita the tailed beast after he finished training, but after getting the formula, he hurried back to prepare the physical strengthening potion. When the person who broke the seal is found, he will be severely punished. After the starlight fell, a person followed the starlight and landed on the ground. On the other side of the sea is the continent where the 3 holy places are located. Is it the seal on this planet that was damaged? His eyes looked into the distance, where the ruins of Mount Myoboku were located. The boundless starry sky was filled with bright stars, and suddenly a beam of starlight shone down. Mizuki found Naruto again and gave him a glass of hero's water. The system returned a 6,000-fold return this time. The returned hero's water was more effective and could increase the amount of chakra up to 120 times. This beam of light looks very thin from a distance, but when it falls on the ground, it is 10 meters thick. I saw this person exuding starlight, as dazzling as a star, but his specific appearance was not clear. Chapter 286, From God's Domain. Starlight fell, and a light door appeared in front of this person. He stepped inside. At the same time, Mount Myoboku guards the barrier, and at the top, a light gate appears at the same time. The man stepped out of the light door. Hundreds of miles apart, just one step away. This person was floating high in the sky, scanning the dome-like barrier below. When his eyes glanced at one place, he paused slightly. This is the location where Mizuki broke the barrier before. But there was only a slight pause and he didn't pay much attention. Fortunately, the barrier is still intact. The damage is not major and has been repaired automatically. The barrier has been in disrepair for a long time, and the natural energy concentration of this planet is not high. As a result, the intensity of the barrier has been greatly weakened, and someone actually broke a small hole. However, on such a backward small planet, there is someone who can break through the god-suppressing barrier set up by Master Susan. Even though it is only a small opening, and although the intensity of the barrier is not 1/10,000th of what it was in its heyday, it is still very rare. Quote. He should be a genius. Haha, I happen to be short of a slave, so let him be this person. He looked directly through the barrier and saw Mount Myoboku inside. There was no living thing among the ruins. If I remember correctly, the people guarding this barrier are the Toad clan. Are there not even one left now? HMPH, you stupid tribe. They escaped the pursuit of the Otsutsuki in the first place, but now they are still exterminated. It seems that they are meddling in other people's business. Can't you just stay inside the barrier? Forget it, just be extinct. It has nothing to do with me. Let's find and subdue those who destroyed the barrier. The starry sky gate appeared again, and he stepped in. Raichi Cave, White Snake Sennin is sleeping on his stomach in the temple. Suddenly it opened its eyes and its expression changed drastically. Someone has entered the barrier. What a powerful energy wave. Who is it? It looked horrified and said, could it be that Mizuki knew about my plan with Sage of Six Paths and came to visit? The White Snake Immortal panicked, and his first reaction was to run away. He must not follow in the footsteps of Gamamaru. As long as he is alive, there is hope. As for his snake sons and grandsons, he has nothing to do with them. As long as he is still alive, he will be able to create another snake clan sooner or later. Fortunately, in order to prevent such a thing from happening, I have already made full preparations. The cat's eye stone hanging around its neck stores a large amount of natural energy, enough for it to not be affected by the negative effects of reduced natural energy concentration for a short period of time after leaving Raichi Cave. We can't stay on this planet any longer. Let's go to the moon to have a full meal and grab the Tensagen by the way, and then go to outer space to find a living planet. White Snake Sage's body disappeared and turned into a pouty old woman wearing a white gown, still holding a pipe in her mouth. It moved very fast, quickly ran out of the temple and went around to the back of the temple. There is a hole more than 10 meters deep here, and you can see the bottom at a glance. However, as the white snake immortal entered the cave and waved his hand, the wall at the bottom of the cave immediately rippled like waves on the water. Then a space channel leading to the outside world was formed. The white snake immortal walked out quickly, and after going out, he flew into the sky, kept flying, and soon he would fly to the moon. But just as it was about to step out, a voice came from far away. Hey, why are you running? The white snake immortal was even faster. But soon it discovered that no matter how hard it ran, it could never reach the space passage. It seems like a step away, but the middle seems to be separated by thousands of mountains and rivers, out of reach. It lowered its head and saw a road made of stars under its feet. It was standing on this road. The road was sliding backwards like a treadmill. In this way, the white snake immortal ran forward, and the road under his feet ran backwards, causing it to always stay in the same place. The pressure behind him is getting stronger and stronger, and the opponent is obviously getting closer. I'll fight you. The white snake immortal knew that he couldn't run away, so he was ready to turn around and fight to the death. Sage Art. White Geki Technique. The dazzling white light instantly illuminated the entire cave. This intensity could directly blind a person's eyes. At the same time, there are harsh sounds, which are extremely noisy and can disturb people's hearing. Haha, what a small trick. As soon as he finished speaking, a hand made of light pinched the white snake immortal's neck, and Bai Ji technique was directly interrupted. The white snake immortal was completely panicked. How can we do this? Although we only meet each other, this powerful sense of oppression makes me completely breathless. Spare my life. You can't blame me for this, it was all Otsutsuki Hagoromo's idea. When it's time to give in, admit it. As a snake, it is a natural talent to be able to bend and stretch. Spare your life. Otsutsuki Hagoromo. When did I say I was going to kill you? Also, don't you, the Raichi Cave Snake clan and the Otsutsuki clan have a blood feud. From what you just said, it seems that you are getting involved with the Otsutsuki clan. Only then did the white snake immortal realize that he seemed to have recognized the wrong person. Advertisement. It hurriedly looked towards the man, but unfortunately it could only see a ball of light and could not see the other person's appearance at all. But it can be confirmed that this person is definitely not Mizuki. Who are you? Asked the white snake immortal. The man did not answer, but said, you want to answer the question I just asked. White snake sage said, well, I recognize the wrong person. I thought you were here to kill me. As for the Otsutsuki clan, in fact, that Otsutsuki Hagoromo cannot be regarded as an orthodox Otsutsuki. He is the woman of Otsutsuki, who is married to a man on this planet. He was born, and he sealed his mother and has no contact with the other Otsutsuki clan. The most important thing is that he is dead. The other party said, well, that's it. No wonder you want to run. But with your strength, you have to run away. It seems that the person I am looking for is the person you are afraid of. Tell me, what is his name and where is he? The white snake immortal didn't feel the murderous intention from the other party, so he became more and more courageous. That man's name is Mizuki. He is in Phoenix Village in the Kingdom of Birds. Sir, may I ask, what are you doing with him? The other party said, I come from the divine realm and am one of the 3 envoys of Susanoo God, the messenger of light. The god of Susanoo sensed fluctuations in a barrier that sealed the evil god on this planet, and ordered me to come and check. After I saw it, I was very curious about the person who destroyed the barrier. I didn't expect that there would be such a skilled person on such a barren planet. I happen to be short of a slave, so I'll find him and bring him back to God's realm for me to drive. After hearing this, a mortal white snake thought so. It immediately said, yes, sir, that Mizuki is the one who destroyed the barrier of Mount Myoboku. You don't know him. He turned into a 5,000-meter tall giant at that time. The attack was extremely terrifying. Please be sure to take him away, sir. Otherwise, if you let him stay in the ninja world, sooner or later these barriers will be destroyed by him, and the evil god will be released. The divine envoy of light sneered and said, it is impossible to break the barrier. Drilling a hole is already the limit. Okay, I won't bother you, I have to rush back to God's realm. The light in the lower realm is really too dirty. Tell me the location of Phoenix Village in Bird Country, and show me Mizuki's appearance. I will take him away right away. White Snake Sage didn't hesitate at all, and immediately told the Light Envoy the location, and then used the transformation technique to transform into Mizuki's appearance and show it to the Light Envoy. And so, the god of light left Raichi Cave. The White Snake Immortal breathed a sigh of relief. I was scared to death. I thought it was Mizuki who came to kill me, but I didn't expect it to be the messenger of God from the upper realm. Messenger of Susanoo God, Mizuki will definitely be taken away now. Okay, once Mizuki is gone, who will I be afraid of in this ninja world? At that time, I will no longer have to live such a hard and fearful life. The country of birds, Phoenix Village. In a certain classroom at the ninja school, Tsunade stood on the podium, puffing out his big chest and looking at the students sitting upright below. Bang! The podium was shot extremely loudly, followed by a crunching sound of dying struggle, and then completely fell apart. Shizune, who was on the side as a teaching assistant, twitched the muscles on his face. The students below were all scared and turned pale. The corners of Tsunade's eyes also twitched. Damn, you used too much force. But no matter what, the class must continue. Starting from today, I will teach you about gambling. In the first gambling lesson, I will teach you to listen to the sounds and distinguish the words. That is, through the dice cup, you can tell the number of the dice in the dice cup just by hearing. This is a training for your hearing. After mastering this skill, you can rely on your hearing during combat to detect attacks in blind spots such as behind you and above your head, which greatly improves your combat capabilities. Shizune, go get a new desk. This class can't be held without a desk. Soon, Shizune moved a new desk. Tsunade started. She took out a dice cup, put 3 dice in it, then raised it above her head and shook it vigorously. Snapped. The dice cup was placed on the desk. Shizune was frightened, fearing that the desk would be broken again. Come on, guess the size. 10 o'clock and below is small, and above 10 o'clock is large. Buy it and leave. Ahem. Shizune couldn't stand it anymore and coughed twice as a reminder. Tsunade's voice stopped abruptly. Haha, that's all. It's just to liven up the atmosphere. Don't worry about it. Okay, now let's guess the number inside. The students all began to guess the points, and there were all points. Okay, the point guessing session is over. Let me tell you, the points inside are 3, 4, 5, 12 o'clock. The next moment, Tsunade opened the dice cup, and sure enough, the 3 dice inside were 3, 4, and 5. Wow, the students all exclaimed, praising Tsunade for his accurate guess. One student said, Principal Tsunade, I heard from my father that you are a frequent visitor to the casino. Your gambling skills must be very good, right? Advertisement. Shizune on the side listened and hurriedly suppressed laughter. Tsunade looked awkward and said, Gambling is just entertainment, don't care about winning or losing. I like gambling, but I never use any ninja methods to gamble, I just rely on luck. Indeed, how could a ninja like Tsunade become a fat sheep if he relied on ninjutsu to gamble? She just didn't bother to do that. You must also remember that I am teaching you gambling skills, not for you to gamble. If you want to become ninjas in the future, you should learn how to practice in all aspects of your life. Gambling is also a form of spiritual practice. Okay, stop talking nonsense. Next, I am going to tell you the skills of listening to the sound to identify the key points. Please listen carefully. Each die has 6 sides, and each side has a different number of points. This results in the 6 sides of a dice being asymmetrical. Each side will make a different sound when it hits the table. By distinguishing the difference in sound, you can tell what the points are. The students listened carefully. Seeing this, for some reason, a sense of accomplishment emerged in my heart. It's just baffling. Teaching people to gamble, what is there to be proud of? Shizune, give each student a die. After you get the dice, roll them on the table. Close your eyes, listen carefully to the sound of the dice, and discern the subtle differences. Let's start. In the office, Mizuki put away the crystal ball and nodded. Fortunately, Tsunade doesn't just teach gambling, so I can rest assured. Watching the group of children rolling dice on the table with their eyes closed, Mizuki was filled with joy, thinking of the scene in Konoha when he taught Sasuke how to locate sounds. Why? Sighing, Mizuki stood up. I prepared 2 copies of the physical strengthening potion, but I don't know how effective it is. One part is made from 100 drops of stalactite, and the other part is made from 200 drops of stalactite. You have to find someone to try it before you can see the effect. It's better to be Nobita. Nobita is talented in physical skills, so this physical strengthening potion will have the greatest effect on him. As for Mizuki himself, he didn't think about it. He could feel that this physical enhancement potion had no effect on him. In other words, it needs a higher concentration to have an effect on itself. He doesn't lack for this improvement either, so he might as well not waste the stalactite. He found Nobita again, and at this time, Watermelon was still trying to control the surging chakra in his body. The ninja clan's chakra control ability doesn't seem to be very good. Nobita, this is a physical strengthening potion. It is prepared according to the formula provided by Watermelon. It can strengthen the body's strength, speed, reaction, and endurance. This is the first stage. This is the second stage. You drink the first stage first. Nobita didn't show any pretense, he took it and drank it. After the medicine entered his abdomen, Nobita's body immediately began to change. A yellowish-black greasy substance seeped out from the surface of his skin. His body grew slightly taller, his figure became stronger, and his whole spirit changed. When the change was over, Mizuki asked, "How do you feel?" Nobita clenched his fist and said, "Master, I feel like my body has become twice as strong." When he punched out, he could clearly feel that compared to before, the power and speed of this punch were enhanced. Mizuki nodded with a smile and said, "Drink the second stage potion and you will be stronger." Nobita drank it again and his physique was doubled again. Now, compared to just now, his strength, speed, reaction, and endurance are all 4 times. This is an overall improvement, not a unilateral improvement. The combat effectiveness increased by more than 10 times. It can be said that the current him can beat the 10 of him just now. Thank you, Master, for your cultivation. Nobita's gratitude to Mizuki can no longer be expressed in words. What I owe Mizuki has been repaid long ago. Mizuki patted Nobita on the shoulder and said, Work hard, Nobita, my teacher is very optimistic about you. A simple sentence of encouragement made my ambition surge and seemed to have unlimited motivation. Okay, you have enough chakra and your physique has been strengthened. It's time to give you a tailed beast. Jinchuriki still has a bright future. The power of the tailed beast will help you sooner or later. Just when Mizuki was about to take Nobita into the Kamui space and help him become a Jinchuriki, a starlight gate suddenly appeared above Phoenix Village. The next moment, a 5-meter-tall giant of light walked out of the door. Mizuki frowned and looked up. The Lightbringer was condescending and locked eyes with Mizuki. Mizuki, you are honored to be chosen by me and qualified to be my slave for me to drive. I will bring you into the divine realm, and you will get rid of the dirty environment of the lower world and enter another vast and beautiful world. Now, come and kiss my feet and swear allegiance to me. Chapter 287. What kind of divine messenger? Nothing more than that. Mizuki frowned. Where did this second-hand product come from? Ask me to be loyal and kiss his feet. Is he my goddess? Even if I am really a goddess, I don't want to be ABCH. Go home and let your father kiss you. What are you? Before Mizuki could finish his question, he saw a figure rushing into the air with a whoosh like a flying monkey, and his immature fists the size of small sandbags hit the god of light. It was Nobita. If you dare to insult my master, I will beat you to pieces. If you dare to disrespect my master, go to hell. Mizuki frowned and shouted. Nobita is back. While speaking, he raised his hand and used universal pull to surround Nobita, trying to pull him back. Mizuki could feel that the Lightbringer was radiating powerful energy. This is an energy that is different from chakra, and it is different from the breath of natural energy. It is a new energy that Mizuki has never seen before. Although unknown, the intensity of this energy is significantly higher than that of chakra. People are always in awe of the unknown. The origin of the other party is unknown, but the word, God's domain, was mentioned in the words just now. Although Mizuki has never heard of God's domain, it is obviously not an easy thing to use the word, God. He was afraid that Nobita would suffer, so he pulled him back. Nobita immediately fell towards the ground under the action of universal pull. The messenger of light said, I feel the murderous intention in you. You humble ant dares to have murderous intentions towards the noble messenger of light. I am now committing a crime of rebellion. After death, your soul will go to hell and suffer 10,000 years. Burning through the heart. He raised his left hand, stretched out an index finger, and tapped Nobita lightly. A ray of light shot out from his index finger and turned into a lightsaber. In an instant, it was in front of Nobita's head, and the tip of the sword stabbed Nobita's head. The edge of the sword exuded sharp energy, flashed with cold light, and was extremely sharp. Realizing the power of this lightsaber, Mizuki frowned. If Nobita didn't avoid this sword, he might be shot through the head. But if you kill my apprentice in front of me, do you pretend that I don't exist? The next moment, a truth-seeking ball appeared in front of Nobita and turned into a shield, blocking the lightsaber. The lightsaber stabbed the truth-seeking ball shield. The truth-seeking ball possesses all the power of yin-yang and 5 elements and can restrain all ninjutsu. However, the opponent's lightsaber does not belong to the category of ninjutsu, so it is not restrained by truth-seeking ball. The lightsaber pierced the truth-seeking ball shield, but due to the obstruction, its speed and lethality were greatly reduced, until it finally got stuck in the shield and stopped, then turned into dots of light and dissipated. However, this truth-seeking ball was also annihilated and turned into the basic power of yin and yang and the 5 elements, and dissipated. With one sword and one shield, we will perish together. Nobita was pulled to the ground by Mizuki and blocked behind him. Don't be impulsive. The opponent is very strong. If you go up there, you will die. Mizuki warned. Nobita was not afraid, and said, if he dares to insult Master, I will attack him even if he dies. Anyway, it's okay if I die, Master can still revive me. Mizuki shook his head, feeling very relieved. In order to protect my dignity, he was not afraid of death. For such a disciple, he himself could not be regarded as teaching in vain. Okay, as long as I'm here, it's not your turn to take action. In the air, the god of light looked at Mizuki and nodded repeatedly. Not bad, not bad. Your strength is very good, and you are still so young. As expected, I made the right choice by choosing you to be my slave. Minato said coldly. It's really a dream if you want me to be loyal to you. I am very curious about the divine realm, so you should be loyal to me and be my slave. The third eye between his eyebrows suddenly opened, and Mangekyo Samsara Sharingan's pupil power exploded instantly. The next moment, the surrounding environment changed. The god of light was surprised and turned his head to look around. In the dark earth, there are pyramid-like soil slopes on the ground. No living creatures can be seen here. The strong gravity envelopes the god of light, making him feel uncomfortable and his body is shaking a little. It's quite clever. It brought me to a strange space quietly. The god of light praised. Unfortunately, it's still useless to me. The god of light spoke easily, but his eyes kept looking at the eyes between Mizuki's eyebrows, with anger and fear in his heart. His eyes, are from the Otsutsuki clan again. Those thieves who stole the power of the gods will soon descend to the realm to judge them. Since he has eyes like this, he must have mastered the power of Susanna's god tier. He must not be allowed to use it, otherwise he will be too restrained on me. Mizuki looked at the other person, shocked. This space was created by myself using bloodline to snare Tian Zongzong, a gravity space. In order to prevent the battle from spreading to Phoenix Village, he brought the other party here. The gravity here is 100,000 times that of the outside world. Except for himself, any other creature coming here will have to bear 100,000 times the gravity. Even a body made of iron will be crushed by the strong gravity. But the god of light was still floating in the air, and except for his body shaking slightly at first, there was no other abnormality. It's like not being affected by gravity. Advertisement. How can this be? Why are you not affected by gravity? Mizuki asked directly. The god of light laughed. How can gravity affect me? I am the god of light, I am light. Since it is light, how can it be affected by gravity? Mizuki can't understand. Light. Is this god of light made of light? What is the structure of his body? I am light, immune to any physical attacks and immune to any spell attacks. To you, I am invincible. How about it? If you're afraid, come over and lick my feet. Follow me. I won't treat you badly. Mizuki's face turned cold and he shouted. HMPH, I don't believe it anymore. So what about Hikaru? Is Hikaru really invincible? The next moment, he appeared behind the god of light and kicked the opponent in the head with a side kick. At the same time, the truth-seeking ball spiral shuriken has been created in the right hand, and it is slashing towards the opponent's waist. But then, his foot passed directly through the body of the god of light without causing any adverse effects on the other party. The truth-seeking ball spiral shuriken also passes through the opponent's body and flies away into the distance. This divine envoy of light is actually not an entity. The god of light reacted quickly and punched Mizuki in the chest with his backhand. With a 5-meter-tall body, the fist was about the same size as a football. The strange thing was that although it was not an entity, the punch actually hit Mizuki's chest. Directly smashed Mizuki and flew backwards. Haha, you can't attack me, but I can attack you and cause you harm. Mizuki steadied himself and raised an eyebrow. It sounds so mysterious, but isn't it actually similar to Obito's Kamui Hollow? I thought it was some new and high-end gadget. In this case, let's learn the moves of 4th Hokage. I haven't fought in a while, so let's play some more today. He twisted his neck and moved his body. The opponent's fist was powerful and heavy, but it was obviously not enough for Mizuki. Mizuki ate 3 sacred tree fruits and was strengthened from the inside out. For him, even 10,000 attacks like this would not be able to break his skin. Humph, I don't believe it. Mizuki said loudly on purpose, and then rushed towards the opponent again. The god of light laughed and said, well done, since you are not convinced, then I will beat you to your heart. When you are defeated by me, you will worship me. He also rushed towards Mizuki. This scene is just like the scene in the anime where Mask Obito and 4th generation Minato are approaching quickly during the Nine Tails Rebellion. The two approached quickly, and when the distance was less than 3 meters, Mizuki threw the truth-seeking ball Rasen Shuriken. Without any surprise, the spiral shuriken passed through the body of the god of light. At this moment, the fist of the god of light reached a distance of 3 centimeters in front of Mizuki. Haha, fly. The god of light laughed, his body had materialized, and his fists gained some strength. The fist was about to hit Mizuki. With a whoosh sound, Mizuki disappeared from the spot and appeared behind the god of light. The empty truth-seeking ball Rasen Shuriken returned to Mizuki's hands. Then, he hit the divine envoy of light on the back with his backhand. But the divine envoy of light didn't react at all. Boom. This time it hit hard, and all I could see was sparks. No, it was radiating light. The other party was injured, but what came out of the wound was not blood, but light. Ah! The god of light screamed loudly and was in great pain. Just like the original 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato, the Rasengan hit Obito's back. This is an IQ crushing. The body of the god of light immediately became light again, escaping the subsequent sustained damage. He stumbled to his feet and turned to glare at Mizuki. Damn ant, you actually hurt me, I'm going to kill you, kill you. The next moment, he raised his hand and pointed, and a lightsaber flew towards Mizuki. This lightsaber is different from the one he dealt with Nobita before. The speed of this lightsaber is so fast that Mizuki can't even hide in time. It's like light. In an instant, the lightsaber pierced Mizuki's body and passed through his chest. Mizuki fell to the ground with a thud. Ha ha ha, ants. I kindly wanted to take you as my servant, but you refused my kindness and even hurt me. Since you don't know what to do and want to die, then I will help you. Advertisement. The god of light laughed loudly. Although he was injured, he got his revenge in the blink of an eye and felt very happy. Hey, are you stupid? Why are you laughing? Do you really think you're going to kill me? Mizuki got up from the ground and dusted his butt. I was just joking to play on you, but you actually took it seriously. You are so brainless. Mizuki's voice sounded, without any hint of lack of breath. You could tell by the sound that he wasn't injured at all, let alone dead. Impossible. The god of light looked at Mizuki's chest and found that there was no wound at all. My god's light sword of punishment clearly passed through your body, why were you not injured? He was puzzled. Mizuki scoffed. Do you think you can turn into light? Ignore physical and magical attacks. Lousy can too. So what if you can become light? I can make my body enter another space and do it more thoroughly regardless of the damage. Mizuki looked at the god of light and sneered. You are the one who returns the favor to the god of light. What a piece of rubbish.
You still want to take me as your slave, and you don't want to take a P*****s to look after yourself. The god of light became angry and shouted, Damn ant, I will kill you. He fired with 10 fingers, and one divine punishment light sword was shot out one after another, overwhelming towards Mizuki. It's no use. These divine punishment lightsabers all passed through Mizuki's body without causing any harm to him. The god of light looked at Mizuki and suddenly said, I understand, it turns out to be space.
Humph, let your body hide in another space, leaving only a shadow in place to confuse my attention. It's a pretty good technique. But this technique is just a child's trick. You can't dodge the next blow. He opened his mouth and spit out a silver-white lightsaber, shooting towards Mizuki. This lightsaber emits strong spatial fluctuations, and the space is distorted wherever it goes. Mizuki raised an eyebrow. He could feel that this lightsaber seemed to be restraining Kamui Hollow. At this time, the god of time said, This sword can penetrate space. It is useless for your body to hide in another space. This sword will find you and kill you. He was very proud and watched quietly as the lightsaber flew in front of Mizuki. The next moment, Mizuki would be pierced through the body and fall to the ground. However, at this moment, the god of light noticed that his position seemed to have changed. The next moment, he felt a pain in his chest. When he looked down, he saw the tip of a sword protruding from his chest. The tip of this sword was somewhat familiar. It was silver-white and seemed to be the one that he had just sprayed out of his mouth. Isn't this sword aimed at Mizuki? Why am I the one being pierced? Mizuki was now standing where the god of light had been before, looking at the god of light who had his back turned to this side and was stabbed through the chest by a sword from behind. Rubbish. Mizuki is very doubtful. Is this the level of a divine envoy from the divine realm? He just transformed and let himself be stabbed by his own sword. Are people who come from the upper world and come down from the upper world so useless? Damn it, I'm hurt again. Damn it Mizuki, I'm going to kill you. The god of light turned around, looked at Mizuki and roared loudly. The light in the world attacks me. Field of light. The next moment, he transformed into a super bright light bulb, and dazzling light emanated from him. If the creation technique doesn't work, just open the 9 doors and attack his soul directly. Mizuki was exposed to the light, and his clothes began to actinize. His skin stung slightly, and there was a sign of collapse and disintegration. When he thought about it, this messenger of light was quite difficult. Huh, do you think I'm just standing here and being transformed by you? He can turn into light, is immune to any physical attacks and spell attacks, and has a strong ability to save his life. What kind of move is this? It's so powerful. Every object that the light shines on can be turned into light. Even my powerful body can hardly bear it. The creation technique is used against the enemy, but the effect is unknown. It's a pity that the world with 100,000 times gravity that I finally built was destroyed by the realm of light. All objects that were illuminated by the light began to turn into light. I'll leave immediately. Then try soul methods. Mizuki directly left the world of Tien Zongshu. The world he created himself. Of course, he could enter and exit as he wanted. A little distressed. He was hit once by the 6-path spiral shuriken, and pierced through the chest by his own lightsaber, but he seemed to be fine and had a strong vitality. Coupled with this is the domain of light, a powerful ability that even Mizuki would shy away from. It seems that the divine envoys who came down from the divine domain still have some merits and are not without merit. Using ordinary means to deal with him will not work. Chapter 288. The powerful technique was forced to die together. The gravity space has been completely destroyed. In the realm of light, all objects are assimilated into light. There is only light here, and there is light everywhere. Soon, these lights converged toward the middle, and finally they all converged on the god of light and were absorbed by him. All his injuries have recovered, and the aura he exudes is even stronger. The gravity space seems to have become a nutritional supplement for him. Humph, you can run fast. But it's useless. You have been marked with the mark of light by me. I can find you wherever you go. I am the light, and wherever there is light, I can reach it. A door of light appeared, and the god of light walked in. Phoenix Village. Mizuki looked at the light door that suddenly appeared in front of him and was ready. He was not surprised that the other party could come out of the gravity space. The lightsaber's attack can directly penetrate Kamui's space, which means that space cannot stop him. You can't run away. The god of light stepped out from the light door and said with a sneer. Mizuki didn't say anything more, and the third eye between his eyebrows opened again. This eye is staring at the god of light. Good fortune. The god of light felt the fluctuations in his pupil power and sneered. It's useless. How can a mere mortal fight against the gods? Since you don't know how to flatter yourself, you'd better go. Ah. He suddenly screamed. You, what did you do to me? What is this? Get out of here, get out of here. The god of light held his head and shouted in fear. At the same time, the third eye between Mizuki's eyebrows closed automatically, and blood and tears flowed from the slit of the eye, flowing down the nose, to the chin, and dripping on the ground, scattering like plum blossoms. His face was very pale, like a dead person, without any blood. His body couldn't help but swayed, and he almost fell to the ground. He hurriedly summoned a truth-seeking ball, turned it into a cane, leaned on the ground, and supported his body so that he did not fall down. Depend on this consumption. The pupil technique was successfully cast, but 9/10 of his soul energy was consumed and was almost exhausted. The consumption of pupil power is even more terrifying, and even the eyes automatically close and cannot be opened. This kind of consumption is beyond the control of his supervisor. The consumption of the creation technique depends entirely on the soul of the target. The stronger the opponent's soul, the more soul power and eye power Mizuki consumes, and vice versa. The soul of the God of Light was obviously very strong, and it almost drained Mizuki dry. But fortunately, it worked. Mizuki looked weakly at the God of Light in front of him, only to see him holding his head and roaring in pain. In the sea of his consciousness, two souls were fighting, attacking and biting each other. The battle was extremely fierce. One of them is the soul of the God of Light, and the other is a new soul created by Mizuki using the creation technique. Between the two, you bite me, I scratch you, you come and I go. Every effective attack can consume some of the opponent's soul power. This battle is all about consumption. Whoever can persist to the end is the winner. Get out, don't even think about taking my body. The God of Light shouted loudly, blessing of light. As soon as he finished speaking, Mizuki discovered that all the light around him was converging towards the God of Light. The sun's rays in the sky originally illuminated the earth, but at this time, the sun's rays actually condensed into a beam and shot directly at the God of Light. It was clearly broad daylight, but the sky and the earth became dim. Only the God of Light, above his head, connected a beam of light to the sky and the earth. With the blessing of light, the condition of the God of Light immediately improved. That does not work. The other party can absorb the power of light, continuously replenish itself, and can quickly deal with the new soul. Mizuki endured the physical discomfort, came to the side of the God of Light, opened the Kamui space, and then sucked the opponent into it. The soul of the God of Light was fighting and had no time to pay attention to Mizuki's little moves. Entering Kamui space, the environment immediately becomes dark. There is no sun, no moon, and no starry sky here, only a faint light wandering on the ground. This little light cannot support the messenger of God in his battle. The condition of the God of Light had just improved a little bit, and the soul of the God of Light, which had a slight upper hand, was immediately knocked back to its original shape, losing its absolute suppressive power. No, he roared, but to no avail. He became afraid. The soul opposite was fearless and had no idea what fear was. It only knew how to attack without any defense. A strong attitude that will not stop until death. On the other hand, the God of Sightseeing becomes more and more frightened the more he fights. With every collision, one's own soul power will be lost. After fighting for a while, he had lost 1/3 of his soul power. Although the opponent's losses are not small, if this continues, even if he wins the battle, his soul energy will most likely be lost. This is the foundation for your cultivation to become a god. If the loss continues, he will never be able to take that step and truly advance from a divine envoy to a god in his lifetime. Advertisement. Even if the soul is so weak that it can only give up the cultivation of this life and be reincarnated. This is not what he wants. Damn it, why is this happening? He was really afraid, and instead of confronting the new soul head on, he turned around and ran away. His idea is simple. The spiritual sea is so big and almost boundless. As long as he keeps running, he will no longer be attacked and lose his soul power. The soul that suddenly appeared in his mind must have been caused by Mizuki's pupil technique. Any technique has a time limit. When the time is up, the soul will naturally leave. His idea was indeed good, but unfortunately he was wrong. When his soul chose to turn around and run away, the new soul stopped chasing him and stood there, breathing heavily. As he breathed, the injuries on his body began to recover, and the lost soul energy began to be replenished. When the God of Light saw this, he was extremely shocked. You are a foreign soul, but you restore soul power in my spiritual sea. What the hell are you? The God of Light is afraid. If you don't have the advantage if you fight head on, even if you win, you will suffer heavy losses, or even die together. If you lose, you will really be doomed. So he chose to run away, but after just a few steps, he found that the other party was actually recovering. You can't restore your soul energy quickly, how do you do it? Whose spiritual sea is this? The God of Light didn't know that Mizuki in the outside world was getting paler at this moment. Although the third eye between his eyebrows was not opened, his eyelids were twitching. Even the crutch in his hand couldn't support his body. He sat down directly on the ground, almost collapsing and lying flat. Damn it, why are you starting to consume it again? This won't work. If this continues, my own soul will collapse before the God of Light is finished. His mind was dizzy, but he still managed to gather his energy and think of a solution. After a while, he finally thought of Liushan toilet water. Liushan toilet water can temporarily increase mental power by 6 times. The so-called mental power is the power of the soul. Although this improvement can only last for 10 seconds, at this moment, there is no choice. He immediately took out the Liushan toilet water, hurriedly opened the bottle cap, brought it to his nose and took a sip. The fragrant scent of flower water entered his nose, and Mizuki immediately felt refreshed. The mental power was immediately improved, but not 6 times, only twice. He didn't care why the effect of Liushan toilet water was weakened. At this time, his mental power had been improved and he had to win the battle quickly. Truth-seeking ball kunai, C*M for me. Instantly create 9 truth-seeking balls, and then all these truth-seeking balls turn into kunai shapes and shoot towards the god of light. Although it damages the body, it cannot simultaneously damage the soul. But when the body is damaged, the soul will also become weak. The body and spirit are closely connected. 9 kunai were shot into the body of the god of light. In the spiritual sea, the soul of the god of light immediately noticed something strange. Getting weaker. On the other hand, the new soul opposite, after Mizuki's mental power was temporarily enhanced, his recovery speed immediately accelerated. Without waiting for complete recovery, the new soul instinctively realized that it had an absolute advantage, so it rushed towards the soul of the god of light. Faster than before, the soul of the god of light ran away, but the new soul was faster than him, and the distance between the two sides was quickly closing. It won't take long to catch up. Oops. The god of light looked back while running. Seeing that the other party was getting closer and closer to him, he realized that he was about to reach a dead end. He couldn't understand that the messenger of God from his majestic divine domain, a being who transcended mortals, would encounter such a disaster on this garbage-like planet. Damn it. Things like rubbish have pushed me to this point, and I won't let it go. He stopped running away. There was no way he could escape anyway. He looked back. Even if I die, I will hold you on my back. He roared and rushed forward, and the two fought together again. This time, the messenger of light also became fearless, but the gap in strength was a bit large, resulting in him being at an absolute disadvantage. It's almost time to finish. The god of light suddenly said something, and the next moment, he hugged the new soul tightly with both hands, letting it beat and bite him without letting go. Let's die together. He concentrated all the remaining soul power together, and then used a special method to ignite it. The violent power is about to explode. The moment before he blew himself up, he regained control of his body, opened his bright eyes and looked at Mizuki. Mizuki, you are so proud of yourself for forcing me to this point. You never imagined that a mere mortal in the lower world could possess means that even I cannot resist. But don't be complacent, I will come back. The next moment, violent spiritual energy burst out from the body of the god of light. This power swept out instantly, and Mizuki's soul was in severe pain. He didn't even have time to scream, and he fainted to the ground. At this time, Naruto also entered Kamui's space, preparing to help Mizuki fight the enemy together. As soon as he came in, he was swept away by spiritual energy, and he fainted as soon as his eyes rolled. In the spiritual sea of the god of light, the two souls also returned to nothingness. Advertisement. Even the entire spiritual sea was destroyed by the explosion and turned into nothingness. The body of the god of light is still intact and has not been affected in any way, but the spiritual sea is gone and he has become a useless corpse. Even if a new soul enters, it cannot occupy this body. Thump. The 5-meter-tall body fell to the ground and turned into dots of light, dissipating in the air. After a while, it was completely gone. There was only a palm-sized disc left on the spot, and I didn't know what it was. I don't know how long it took. Mizuki woke up leisurely. My head hurts, like pins and needles. He forced himself to sit up, but for a while he couldn't remember what happened. After a long while, he finally remembered. Where is the person? Is he dead? Or did he escape? He frowned. Before he fell into coma, he heard the messenger of light say that he would come back. In that case, he probably ran away. If you die, how can you come back? But I was obviously unconscious and defenseless, why didn't he kill me? Even if he is seriously injured, he won't even have the strength to kill me. He couldn't understand. But no matter what, he didn't die. This shows that the creation technique is still powerful. It is indeed a technique that surpasses the bloodline snare, it is very powerful. In addition, what was the sudden burst of power in him at the last moment? It actually made me unconscious in an instant. It was really strong, much stronger than the realm of light. Why didn't he use such a powerful method earlier? The sudden appearance of the god of light taught Mizuki a lesson. He was already very strong, and no one in the ninja world dared to object if he was called invincible. He was not even worried about whether the Otsutsuki clan would come, and he would always give food to him. Especially after he destroyed Mount Myoboku, his heart became even more swollen and began to break down. I have lost interest in practicing to become stronger. When it comes to system returns, just let nature take its course and not think about anything else. Practicing immortality means 3 days of fishing and 2 days of drying nets. There is no sense of urgency and no rush at all. What he was thinking was that he was already invincible anyway, so why should he practice? No matter how strong he became, he would still be invincible. Wouldn't it be nice for him to have time to practice, eat, drink and have fun? But now he understands that there is heaven outside the sky, and there are people outside the world. Being invincible in the ninja world doesn't matter. Just a random messenger from the divine realm almost killed him. It seems that it's still not strong enough. We can't continue to mess it up, otherwise we will be in trouble next time the god of light comes again. He struggled to get up, but as soon as he moved, his brain was filled with tingling pain. This is not a physical problem, but a damage to the soul. Use the creation technique to create a new soul in the body of the god of light, which consumes a lot of his soul power. Later, a powerful mental wave bursts out of the god of light, causing secondary damage to his soul. Now, his soul is more damaged than Orochimaru, who just used the living corpse reincarnation technique. If you are not careful, you may end up in a state of despair. Fortunately, he has a strong constitution and sufficient life energy. The soul lives in the body, and the body nourishes the soul. Although the injury to the soul is serious, it will slowly recover after being nurtured. It's just this recovery time, I'm afraid it's a bit long. According to his estimate, he might not be able to recover within 3 years. Relying on natural recovery is definitely not possible, you still have to rely on the system. Get some restorative medicine and return it through the system. It should have an effect on the soul's injuries. He struggled to stand up again, but still couldn't. If he moved even a little bit, his head would hurt terribly. So he could only give up and continue to fall to the ground, and soon fell asleep again. In the sleep state, the recovery of soul injuries is faster. Mizuki was sleeping in Kamui space, but everyone in Phoenix Village was panicked. What should I do? It's been 7 days and Mizuki and Naruto haven't come out yet. Could it be? Minato looked ugly and did not continue. Kushina's eyes were red, obviously she had just cried. Tsunade and the others also fell silent. Neji asked Nobita, "Can't you summon the watermelon yet?" Nobita shook his head and said, "I've tried it many times, but it doesn't work every time. Before it left, it told me that it was returning to Meow Planet to make an offering to the Meow King, and that it would go to the Meow Clan King's city for half a month. There is no way to summon it in the royal city. As long as we can summon out Watermelon, and then let Watermelon use the reverse summoning technique on Mizuki, we can determine whether Mizuki is dead or alive." Tsunade frowned and sighed. "Hey, it happens to be at this time. Now, we can't even determine whether they are alive or dead, so we can only worry here every day." Kushina was at a loss, and she was very panicked. What if something happened to Naruto? Minato, what should I do? Minato was also anxious, but as a man, he had to hold on at this time. Don't worry, they are so strong, they won't die easily. The enemy is very strong, and the fighting is probably still going on. Although they did not come back, the enemy did not appear again, which at least shows that the enemy did not win. So, there is hope. Chapter 289, Influence. The atmosphere in the village was a bit depressing. Mizuki and Naruto disappeared for 7 days, which had long attracted the attention of interested people. Before and after the union, a powerful enemy attacked first, saying that he was some kind of messenger of light who wanted to take Mizuki as his slave. Then Mizuki disappeared with the other person, appeared briefly, and then disappeared together. Until now, Mizuki has never appeared again. Even ordinary villagers are speculating whether Mizuki died. The great names of the Kingdom of Wind were overjoyed after receiving the news. Haha, Mizuki is dead, Phoenix Village is leaderless, and the Kingdom of Birds is about to be in chaos. It's a good time to attack. Notify Sand Shinobi Village immediately and ask them to send ninjas to choose a few more places to destroy the Great Wall of Bird Country. An army of 50,000 samurai is ready to invade Bird Country at any time. Soon, the envoy sent by the daimyo arrived at Sand Shinobi Village, but the village's response made the envoy dumbfounded. He did not dare to make a decision, so he hurriedly returned to the daiming mansion and told the daiming about the situation. After hearing this, the daimyo was so angry that his face turned livid. Hateful. Damn ninja, you deserve to die. You all deserve to die. For a trash genin, the commission fee for a day's mission is 5,000 taels, which is the lowest D-level mission. Why don't they grab it? The daimyo's face was extremely gloomy. The slave he raised actually betrayed him and chose to stab him in the back at the critical moment when he was launching a war. Immediately seal off Sand Shinobi Village and cut off all supply routes to Sand Shinobi Village. From today on, not a grain of food or a drop of water is allowed to enter that shabby village. Any merchant who dares to sell any goods to Sand Shinobi Village will be executed immediately, including his entire family. If you dare to betray me, I will let them know who is the real master of this land. Anger. Ultimate rage. The daimyo of the Kingdom of Wind has never been so angry, and today is the first time. If the decision he made succeeds, it will be a fatal blow to Sand Shinobi Village. Ninjas are a group of people who are not involved in production, but only use force. For example, the Nara clan who runs the herbal medicine business in Konoha, Tiantian who runs a ninja tool shop, and the Yamanaka clan who runs a flower shop are all in the minority. Most ninjas only support themselves by taking on missions and earning bounties. Therefore, Ninja Village still needs the support of the state so that it can not worry about basic living necessities and concentrate on training and performing tasks. Now that Sand Shinobi Village has voluntarily left the Country of Wind, it means that they will lose the support of the Country of Wind. And Sand Shinobi Village is located in a barren desert, with an extreme shortage of food and fresh water. Choosing to break up with the daimyo of the Land of Wind seems to be a wrong choice. Once the daimyo of the Land of Wind successfully blocks Sand Shinobi Village, the village may really be doomed. Of course, it is not certain whether the blockade can be successful. Advertisement. Lord Daimyo. No, no. As soon as the daimyo said his words, a minister immediately stood up and objected. The daimyo looked at the other party coldly, filled with anger that seemed to have found an outlet to vent. The minister faced the oppressive gaze of the daimyo, and beads of sweat dripped from his forehead, but he still insisted. Lord Daimyo, you must not block Sand Shinobi Village now. The Daimyo said calmly. You'd better have a reason to convince me. The minister said. Lord Daimyo, our country is currently using troops against the Kingdom of Birds, and the Great Wall is blocking the movement of an army of 50,000 people. At this time, we can only rely on ninjas. Sand Shinobi Village is still useful, now we can only endure it and not fall out. Otherwise, an army of 50,000 will go out and consume a lot of supplies in vain, but they will not be able to cross the wall. It will be a small matter for other countries to laugh at it, but it will be a big deal for the people of this country to lose confidence. The daimyo said. Ninjas are not only found in Sand Shinobi Village. I would rather spend money to find ninjas from other countries than to find those white-eyed wolves in Sand Shinobi Village. The minister immediately said. However, if ninjas from other countries are allowed to enter our country, the news that Sand Shinobi Village will be out of control will spread immediately. When other countries send ninjas to start a war, we can only seek support from Sand Shinobi Village. The minister secretly glanced at the ugly-looking daimyo and said, when the lion of Sand Shinobi Village opens its mouth, we will be very passive. How could the daimyo be willing to do so, and shouted loudly, I don't care, you guys think of a solution for me immediately. I want the people in that poor village to never have a good life again. The Kingdom of Wind is in turmoil. The struggle and tug of war between Ninjamura and the daimyo has just begun. News of Mizuki and Naruto's disappearance quickly spread to other countries. Onoki of Rock Shinobi Village did not take it seriously after hearing the news. Mizuki has already faked his death once, and maybe he will fake his death again this time. However, although he did not take it seriously, he still quietly allocated a sum of money, and the destination of this money was the underground money exchange. After Konoha got the news, there was no reaction. They were too busy to take care of themselves now. It would be better if Naruto disappeared, so they wouldn't have to worry about choosing Naruto or Uchiha Itachi. Since Naruto is missing, the only choice is Uchiha Itachi. As a result, more and more spies were sent to the Kingdom of Rain, but unfortunately there was no progress. In the Mist Ninja Village of the Land of Water, 5th Mizukage Terumime is worried about the Water God cult. The only place that is relatively safe is Cloud Shinobi Village, the country of thunder. But 4th Raikage is not a peaceful person. When he heard that Mizuki and Naruto were missing, he immediately sent people to investigate the accuracy of the news. At the same time, he was ready to launch a war at any time to snatch the tailed beasts. Tien Country, Senin Village. Lord Shenji, we have visited the cemeteries in all the major villages. Isn't it time to go find the 100 Snake Immortal and fulfill her instructions? Tien Shenji shook her head and said. No, there is still a village I haven't gone to. Yakushi Kabuto asked. Which other village? Tienshin Jinji. Phoenix Village, Bird Country. I heard that Mizuki and Naruto are dead. It would be best if their bodies can be obtained. If we can control the 2 impure world reincarnations, we will have 2 more top thugs. Yakushi Kabuto expressed doubts about this. Frowning, he said, Phoenix Village is too dangerous. There are 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato, Tsunade, one of the Sannin, and Mizuki's other disciples. They are not weak either. Their perception barrier is also very wide. If I break in, even I will be in danger. Advertisement. Besides, Mizuki and Naruto are missing. It's unclear whether they are really dead, let alone finding their remains. Exiantien Shenji. I can get the best, and if I can't get it, there is no loss. This time I personally sneaked into Phoenix Village. My invisibility technique and mere perception barrier can't be detected. In Kamui's space, Mizuki finally woke up again. My head is still dizzy and the pain is still very clear. I can't continue sleeping. I have to find some medicine to refresh my mind. Otherwise, it will be too slow to recover by myself. He steeled himself, staggering and barely stood up. Only then did he see Naruto lying on the ground not far away. Mizuki's expression changed and he shouted hurriedly, Naruto. Naruto had no reaction. If he hadn't seen Naruto's chest rising and falling, Mizuki would have thought he was already cold. It seems that Naruto, like me, was soul wounded by the last burst of power from the God of Light. Although Naruto was a little further away, his soul was already weak, and how could it compare to Mizuki, who drank divine energy tea and ate the fruits of the sacred tree to increase the strength of his soul? Therefore, Naruto's soul trauma was much more serious than Mizuki's. Naruto's soul at this time was like a candle in the wind, about to be extinguished. If the soul is destroyed, even Rinne Tensai technique cannot revive it. So Mizuki is in a hurry. He immediately wanted to open the space door and leave the Kamui space, but just as his right eye turned into a Rinnegan, he felt strong discomfort in his body. He forced himself to come out of Kamui space, but as soon as he came out, he knelt on one knee on the ground, lowered his head and vomited loudly. Faint. Very dizzy. Pain. My head hurts so much. Tired. Tired as never before. I really suffered a big loss this time. He wanted to fall asleep, but Naruto's state made him anxious. If he slept now, if Naruto died, he would have no place to cry with regrets. It's important to find Tsunade to get the medicine first. In my current state, I can't go to every casino to look for him. Let's go to Fungying Tower first and let someone look for me. He wanted to use the Flying Thunder God, but before he could think of it, the dizziness and pain in his head suddenly intensified, forcing him to give up. The key point is that this place is quite remote and there is no one to help me. Forget it, move back slowly. He picked up a stick from the ground and walked out of the forest with strength. At this moment, he felt a cold breath coming from not far behind him. There was something familiar about this smell, and Mizuki already recognized who the other person was without looking back. Holy crap, why are the snakes from Raichi Cave here? Chapter 290. Escaped. Mizuki has 10,000 mothers in her heart. In his current state, it would feel dark if he even moved a little bit, let alone started fighting. It can be said with certainty that as long as his movement range is larger, the damaged soul will not be able to bear it, and he will faint directly. Of course, he didn't panic. He determined that the other party was Tienshinji of Raichi Cave, who was White Snake Sennin's right-hand man and was not weak in strength. But so what? He has eaten 3 chakra fruits and has become immortal. Unless he is sealed with a 6 paths level sealing technique, even if the White Snake Immortal comes in person, he may not be able to kill him. But although his life was safe, what should Naruto do? We can't create unnecessary complications now. So, he decided to show off. The steps that were moving with difficulty suddenly stopped. Without turning around, he just said lightly, "You are quite courageous. You dare to sneak into my village. Who gave you the courage? Is that your White Snake ancestor?" Behind her, Tien Shinji's aura fluctuated. Bad invisibility, hee, I already saw it last time in Raichi Cave. Okay, stop hiding, come out. When Tien Shinji saw Mizuki say this, she knew that she was really exposed. So she showed herself openly, neither too close nor too far away, looking at Mizuki with a smile. "Mizuki-sama, what's wrong with you? Do you need me to help you?" Mizuki tilted his head slightly and glanced back from the corner of his eye. "What's wrong with me? Can't you see that I'm injured? Hey, in order to kill the envoy of light from God's realm, I suffered a big loss this time and almost got myself involved." Then he sneered and said, "How dare you help me?" Advertisement. Upon hearing the words, "God's envoy of light in the divine realm," the smile on Tien Shinji's face suddenly disappeared and turned into panic. "Mizuki-sama, did you really kill the god of light?" Although she was ordered by the White Snake Sage, she left Raichi Cave and followed Yakushi Kabuto to collect remains in preparation for the impure world reincarnation. But she still knows something about what happened in Raichi Cave. The divine envoy of light from the divine realm came to Raichi Cave. The White Snake ancestor wanted to give up Raichi Cave and escape alone but failed. In the end, it was just a false alarm. Although she didn't see it with her own eyes, she knew from the news how powerful the god of light was. Even the ancestor of White Snake couldn't muster the slightest sense of resistance. But this person was killed by Mizuki. Did Mizuki really kill the god of light, or was he bragging? It's not true. Is it still false? Mizuki, the most powerful ninja master in the world, do I need to lie? It's just a messenger of light, I don't take him seriously. Okay, why are you talking so much to a stinky snake like you? Now tell me, what's the matter with sneaking into Phoenix Village secretly? Do you think I'm dead and want to cause trouble? As soon as he finished speaking, a terrifying murderous aura erupted from Mizuki. Tien Shinji was almost scared to death, and said hurriedly, No, Mizuki-sama misunderstood, I just heard that the scenery of Phoenix Village is very beautiful, and I wanted to come in and have a look, so. This reason was so lame that she didn't even believe it. Mizuki said coldly, "Do you think I'm a fool? Do you really think I'm injured and there's nothing you can do about it? You dare to break into Fenghuang Village at will with evil intentions, so let's add some extra snake soup tonight. I don't know if the meat of a snake like you that can turn into human form is delicious." Tien Shinji was so frightened that her face turned pale, but at the next moment, her body suddenly collapsed to the ground. Advertisement. Mizuki took a look and saw that there was only one piece of skin left. She actually shed her skin and escaped in her true form. Mizuki breathed a sigh of relief when he saw this. Luckily she escaped. He couldn't hold on any longer. Although he was leaning on a wooden stick, he was really tired. If Tien Shinji didn't leave, he would collapse on the ground uncontrollably. Hey, my majestic Mizuki, today is here. It's just that things are unpredictable. He moved to a stone by the road, sat down to rest, and recharged his energy. But at this moment, a man came out from behind a tree not far away and clapped his hands. Ba bang bang. Mizuki-sama is really good at acting. An old fairy like Tienshin Shinji who has lived for hundreds of years is actually scared away by your few words. I'm really impressed. Mizuki turned his head and said calmly, "What, you want to die?" "I was injured. If I took action, the injury would be aggravated, so I let Tien Shinji go. But just because I don't want to do it doesn't mean I can't do it." Yakushi Kabuto smiled lightly and said, "I don't know if Mizuki-sama can do it, but I can give it a try." Mizuki. Haha, since you are looking for death, then I will help you. The next moment, Chakra burst out from his body, and then his body disappeared in a flash. Yakushi Kabuto immediately retreated alertly, made a fighting stance, and at the same time sensed the situation around him. But after sensing for a long time, Mizuki's position was not detected. Only then did he realize something was wrong. He escaped.